Yo, unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. I gotta be honest with you, that game drove me nuts. I cannot believe the Buccaneers lost that game. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Tough one. Man, that was an absolute laser from Cooch, wasn't it?
What a crazy game. The Bulls are bowl-bound for the third season in a row. An incredible performance. And listen, we know the competition. They did what they had to do. No more silver linings. No more moral victories. It was put up or shut up time. And boy, did they rise to the occasion.
So, what do you want to talk about? I had to steal that from my guy, Cody Rhodes. Welcome to the Recher podcast. Happy April 27th, 2026. We've almost already got 4 months into the freaking year already. But I tell you what, today is one of those days that I am so happy that I am on live with you because there is a lot to get into. What a weekend for our teams here in the Tampa Bay area. Just there's so much news in the sports world, and I know everybody out there is still buzzing about the Tampa Bay Lightning's win. Oof, what a game last night in Montreal. 3-2 victory to even the series at 2 apiece. I'm feeling good, and I know a lot of people out there are too. Guys, first, before we get into everything, make sure you're following me on all social media platforms at Recher, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. We are live every day at noon on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and on TikTok as well. So everybody needs to absolutely crush that like button. Every little bit helps. And let's not forget, especially right now, after what we saw last night with this Tampa Bay Lightning team, make sure you go get your swag. Make sure you go out there and you get your Recher podcast t-shirts right now. We had a couple of people order some last night. I mean, my goodness. You want to bring the cup back to the Bay? Sure as hell do. There is the link right there. These shirts are badass. The first deliveries just went out on Friday. We have some more stuff coming from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got some other Lightning shirts that are coming as well. But man, the way that you're going to support the podcast is by liking, sharing, subscribing, and also making sure you get some swag from the Recher store, the Recher podcast store. Bring the cup back to the Bay. We have some Recher podcasts. We have the jerseys there where you can put your name and number on the back. There is the link. Click on the link in the chat and do what you can, please, to help out the program. All right, man, we got plenty to get into today. My goodness. And of course, I want to hear from you. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen. I know a lot of people, there's not many concerns right now. There's a lot of happy fans, whether you're here in the Tampa Bay area or abroad. Shout out to Miguelo Especial with the $10 super chat. Miguelo, you are the best. Crozier hit was huge. Finally playing our defense was huger. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to give it to you, brother. I am giving it to you. That's the way we're going to keep this podcast going. Going to get the Recher podcast merch, the super chats, and also with our partners, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, and EverHealth. Could not do this without you guys. So please contribute any way you can. Shout out to Katie and Jeff and TechTuber and Maria Blandino and Trevor, everybody on TikTok. Let's get to some of these comments. We'll get there in a second. What are we going to talk about on the show today? Of course, the Tampa Bay Lightning and that win against Montreal last night. Next, we're going to talk about the Buccaneers draft. I thought they absolutely crushed it. I love it. I love what they did over the weekend. And again, I've been asking. Give us something to be excited about. Give us something to be enthused about going into the 2026 season. And that's exactly what Jason Light did over the weekend. Very impressed with what they were able to do. Also, let's not forget our guy Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report. The head dog, the big dog from Pewter Report will join us at 1 o'clock today. My guy Greg Lenelli joins us at 1:30 today from Lightning Radio. When he's done with his show, he's going to come up on here and join me on the program to talk all things Tampa Bay Lightning. We'll talk about the Rays, the Rowdies, and the other big winners and losers from the weekend. Again, hit that like button, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or TikTok. Kizzy09, Hagel has been good. Hagel has been great, but are you concerned about Point offensively in this series? I'm not. I feel like Point has gotten better as the game has gone on. So that is what's very exciting to me, is that Point is starting to find his groove. And I said that. We just got to see little glimpses of it. We know he's not 100%, but he's playing better and better and better. He scored the power play goal in game 3. I thought he looked better last night. I'm feeling good about the Tampa Bay Lightning team. We'll break down more here in a second. Let's get to some of your comments here. David Terry, Jay Bird, this team has the heart of a lion. You got that right, pal. And who's the leader of the pack? Brandon effing Hagel. WTFG Bolts. Way to effing go, Bolts. Look at Monte Birdie in the house. Monty Birdie, excuse me. Yo, Jay. What's up, buddy? Victory Monday, Jay Bird. You got that right, pal. Janet Best, a Rays sweep in the Lightning win. You got that right. How about our Rays with the win? All 3 of those games over the Twins. The Rowdies with the 2-0 victory as well. What a effing weekend for Tampa Bay sports. You cannot hate that. Look at Russ. Look at going on the personal side today. I love it. Steve Garner needs to start charging. I'm not at Steve's house. I was there the other night, but I'm not there now. Let's go, Bagel. What a great weekend. This is a good one, too. Big win for the Knicks over the weekend, too. You got that right. I love the way that they played in Game 4 against Atlanta. Dave, Graphic Wolf Art. Jay, you need to change your logo to a pair of one of your shoes. They are. They're in there. You got to check it out. Bagel is a G, should be a C. I don't disagree with that at all. About ready to stitch a C on a Hagel jersey. It's coming, buddy. It is coming. Monty, assuming we get out of this round, how are we feeling about Buffalo? Zach's going to game 5 against Montreal. Good, man. That should be a good time. Take a lot of pictures. Tag me. Monty Birdie, assuming we get out of this round, how are we feeling about Buffalo, Jay? I can't answer that, Monty, because we're not out of this round. I don't ever get too far ahead of ourselves. You can't do it, buddy. You got to stay right here, and there's no guarantee that they're going to win. You never know. You never know. And I'm not getting too far ahead of ourselves talking about bull parades. It's 2-2. It's 2-2. Josiah Trotter has some Levante qualities, and Tedder says some Mikey trades as well. Day 2 of the draft was huge. We'll discuss that here in a bit. And $10 for Dave with the super chat. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you, buddy. That Keontae Scott pick excites me a lot. I'm with you. I'd love to see a depth goal besides Moser. It's been all the usual suspects in recent games. Point looking more confident. I am with you, buddy. I am with you. Bjorkstrand looked good on the forecheck last night as well. I don't disagree at all. And shout out to Orlando Beast. That hit was the biggest game changer since the Vinny LeCavalier Jerome McGinley fight in 2004. And Justin, let's focus on the series at hand. Looking ahead is detrimental. I'm with you, Justin. I'm with you. All right. Let's get into that shit from last night. If you weren't able to join me last night after the game, I am going to be going live for every road game after the game. And last night, the incredible amount of people that supported me last night. I cannot thank you guys enough. That was amazing. That was so badass. But let's get into the game last night. And again, I want to hear your feedback on everything. I put the video out last night, and it's so funny that I said it pretty much at the same time that John Cooper did during his post-game press conference. I had no idea he was going to say this because I went live as soon as the game was over. So I was live before they were even talking. And Coop and I said the same exact thing. That hit by Max Crozier, and I put it everywhere on my social media last night before I went to bed. That hit by Max Crozier not only changed the game, but I think changed this entire series. And if this team does move on, and I'm with you, Justin, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. But if this team goes on a long postseason run, we're going to look back on that clean hit by Max Crozier in the middle of the ice on Juraj Slafkovsky and go, that's where it all changed. Right there. Max Crozier's insertion into the lineup last night was a stroke of genius by John Cooper. He could have went back with Declan Carlisle. He could have been apprehensive about switching Emil Lilleberg from the right side to the left side, because let's not forget, Emil Lilleberg has been playing on the right side a lot, and he enjoys it. I talked to him about it a couple of weeks ago. He said it wasn't that big of a deal. He said he had a really good time, and he's played with so many different guys on the defense that he felt comfortable there. Usually when a guy feels comfortable, you don't want to mess it up, right? You want to kind of keep it the way it is, because regardless if he's playing with Declan Carlisle or Charlie Wardastu, or even going to a guy like Victor Hedman, Lilleberg's going to play on the right side. Making that adjustment in game 4 of the first round on the road, we got to give not only John Cooper credit, but we got to give Emil Lilleberg credit as well. That kid did a wonderful job, and he was kind of public enemy number 1 there earlier this year and last year. Is this kid good enough? Why is he in the lineup? Remember, he was catching a lot of grief. He was. And he has been wonderful. I am just so impressed by the play of Emil Lilleberg. But Coop puts in Max Crozier last night, and he takes the unnecessary penalty early in the game. He didn't look as comfortable as we thought he would be, because remember, he's been dealing with injuries this year too. But with that being said, we know what that pairing looks like. We know about their chemistry. We know about their rapport. Those two guys, they just get it. It worked in Syracuse in the AHL, and it's worked here last year. So putting Max Crozier in that lineup, you had to wonder, what was it going to look like? And as the game went on, it just got better and better and better. And that hit at the end of the second period on Juraj Slafkovsky changed everything. Now, it is on the Lightning. It is. To make sure that they capitalize on this, you want to call it momentum or energy, for game 5 at home. But what more can you say about Max Crozier's hit? Juraj Slafkovsky has struggled big time since game 1, where he scored not only the game winner in overtime, but also a hat trick. He got dropped by Brandon Hagel in game 2. And then he got sent to the locker room after that crushing hit by Crozier in game 4. And everybody wants to talk about player safety and all this crap. You're telling me that dude got his bell rung, he went back to the locker room and he came right back out? I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that these guys care. You telling me Montreal really cares about the safety and the health of these players? They're trying to get that dude out there to make sure that he can help them offensively. And I saw somebody on Twitter, man, you see some terrible things on the internet. And you got to be careful. Guys, I've told you a lot about schedule, standings, and statistics, right? Watch out for people that only speak. Like, I'm going to use those to support an argument that I have, but that is not going to be my sole argument. I've warned you about that on the show. Schedule, standings, and statistics. If the sole argument that somebody has, or the sole discussion that somebody has, are those 3 things, you know that they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I found another one last night. And that is, you have to be careful when people that work in like analytics try to use numbers to predict how other people are thinking, because you don't know. This guy I saw last night, he's like an analytic guy, and he's like, you can tell that Cooper knows that Montreal is the better team. Why? How the hell do you know that? You don't know that. And you're telling me that John Cooper, whose defense has shut down their top line 5-on-5, you're telling me that John Cooper, that's going to worry him? That should embolden him. That should make him feel good. That's weird. That's weird. I don't buy into stuff like that. Fanaticals here. One Shay 2, you know my boy Carter Hill? Yeah, Carter's my guy. Love Carter Hill, man. That dude drops bombs. Shout out to Carter and Landon and Gabe Hater Mode and everybody that works out with Nicole Gabriel over there. I know they were hanging out with Junior Caminero. How awesome was that? And my guy Carter's dropping bombs for O-Stingers as well. Carter, a lot of love for that dude. Listen, you play one game, one season for Coach J, you're always going to be a Coach J guy. That's my dude right there, no doubt. Good kid. Fanatical, talk about Slav coming back. Cooch went down like he was dead, and on next shift, give me a break. Tampa hasn't led in the series. They are catching up. Habs win in 6. Okay then. Cooch went down because he got cross-checked in the back and went crashing into the boards. But he didn't go back into the locker room and then come back. And you know, Cooch, it's tough to tell, man. He's like a poker player. He's not skating fast anyway. So many soft, brutal calls, especially the goal one on Matt. So listen, I didn't like the call at the end of the game too. It's just the officiating has been terrible in this series. I don't understand how you have guys in such a hotly contested series, just so many questionable calls. Let the guys play. I don't understand. Coop, right move, bringing in a guy like Max Crozier. Coop, bringing in Oliver Bjorkstrand. Another smart move, bringing in Bjorkstrand there. And I said, and listen, this is what you're going to get with me on the show. You're going to get somebody that I'm not just going to sit here and you know how close I am. And somebody asked me last night how close I am about, like, you know, to the Lightning as far as, do you cover them the most? Do you know the guys? Yeah. But I wouldn't say they were my friends. I wouldn't say that. We're friendly. But I also have to keep it 100 when things aren't going well, when guys aren't playing well. It's just the way it goes, man. You got to be honest. You got to be honest. And that's what you're going to get from me on this show. You know I want the Lightning to win, but if they're not playing well, I hope you guys all know, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, or on TikTok, I'm going to be honest more than anything else. I lean optimistic, but I will always be realistic. And after game 3, not enough people were talking about what the Lightning weren't doing well and who wasn't showing up and the decisions that John Cooper made. Now, I'd be extremely disingenuous and fake and fugazi if I didn't, on the other side, notice something different in game 4 and recognize that. When I see that John Cooper brings Oliver Bjorkstrand in the lineup and he puts Max Crozier in there, I got to tip my hat. Right moves. And Bjorkstrand didn't take any stupid penalties. I truly believe that Bjorkstrand's going to score a goal sometime in this series if he continues to play. He's just, you saw it last night. It was only in spurts. He didn't play all that much. But you saw like he was kind of hovering around the net a little bit. He had a couple of shots that got blocked. Like, I like that, man. I think he's in a good spot to chip in with the goal at some point. And again, did he play a lot? No. But when he was in there, and he only played 8-18, when he was in there, I thought he contributed as well as he could. Who played the most last night for the Tampa Bay Lightning? Do you know which player? Because it's always a defensive player. But do you know which player played the most last night for the Tampa Bay Lightning? Anybody? Any guesses? Any guesses out there? Who played the most last night for the Tampa Bay Lightning? It's usually a defenseman. Usually. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. Who played the most last night? You heard it. Jeff. Bucs Rays. Frosty. Brandon Hagel. Brandon Hagel played the most last night. Are you crazy? That's so amazing. That a forward that is not even a center, so he's not even out there on draws, taking draws. Brandon Hagel had the most ice time for the Tampa Bay Lightning in game 4. Not Ryan McDonough, not Eric Chernak, not Radish, not Moser, not Cirelli, not Kucherov, not Braden Point, Brandon Hagel. That's who had the most ice time for the Lightning in game 4. I don't think there's a player that is more important to his I don't think there's a player who's more important to his team's success in the playoffs right now than Brandon Hagel. And I'm including goalies in there. And it's not just because he has 6 goals. It's because Brandon Hagel is the straw that stirs the drink for the Bolts. You need a big goal. You need a big hit. You need somebody to go to a different spot on the power play. You need somebody to kill penalties. You need somebody to take on the big bad bullies of the other team. Brandon Hagel's your guy. You know who he reminds me of? And I said this last night, and I'll say it again. He reminds me of Brad Marchand. If he's on your team, you love him. If he's on the other team, you can't stand him. Think about fans north of the border. You loved Brandon Hagel for what he did in the Four Nations. You admired his effort for Team Canada in the Olympics. And now you can't stand him because he does whatever it takes to win. He is the most important player for his team left in the playoffs. I look at Brandon Hagel, and it's hard to really describe because you think about it. You know, we know Connor McDavid, how great he is, and we know Nathan McKinnon with those guys moving on, and we know Kucherov, right? How good he's been. But I'm with T-Bomb here, 9531. I'm with you. The most impactful player in the playoffs so far has been Brandon Hagel because it goes deeper than the statistics. This kid has just really blossomed into one of the greatest players in the game right now. And we've seen it. We saw how good he was last year, 5-on-5. When you're talking about him and Leon Draisaitl, and you're talking about these big names in the National Hockey League and how Brandon Hagel compares to them, kid's unbelievable. And is it going to stop? I don't think so. You look at the goals that he scored so far in this series. You look at the goals he scored last night. Putting his stick down, going to the dirty areas. Go back to the goal last night that he scored in front of the net on the power play. Look at his left hand because he's a left-handed shot. Look at his left hand and look how low it is on the stick. You know, usually guys are normal, they got their stick in a normal spot. Go look at where his left hand was on the stick. His hand was so low. It was so close to the blade. And that told me no matter what was going to happen in front of that net, nobody, and the rock means nobody, was moving Brandon Hagel out of the front of that net. Nobody was moving his stick. Nobody was picking up the stick. Nobody was moving 38. Nobody. He scores the goal. Game is tied. And then, oh yeah, he scored the other one too. Going into the dirty area. Cooch throws it on net and it goes off of Brandon Hagel and it goes in. You have to create your own luck sometimes. And to be fair, Montreal did that early in the game. When Bolduc went to the net, Radish tries to ward him off. Vazzy poke checks. The puck goes in the air off of Bolduc and in. Listen, I don't know if that's necessarily a blame. Maybe you could say up the ice a little bit more. Somebody should have covered for Moser, or maybe he shouldn't have pinched in. But like things like that are going to happen. If that's the game decider, you probably didn't do enough to win. But if you continue to push and push and push and push, you put yourself in that position for good luck and good things to happen to you. That's what you saw from the Lightning. They did not give in. And it's going back to what we saw with the Crozier hit and then what happened right after that. Because let's not forget, they went on the power play after that, and then Hagel took a penalty, and then it was 4-on-4. So it could have went up and right. It could have went up, and then that could have crashed this team back down to earth. But that's not what happened. Jake Gensel went to work. Jake Gensel fed the puck to J.J. Moser. He looped around in the offensive zone, went to the net. Mo with an incredible pass. Gensel scores with less than 54 seconds left to go past Dobish. It's 2-1, and then the game has a completely different feel. Completely different feel. A lot of people are going to talk about the Crozier hit. A lot of people are going to talk about Andrei Vasilevsky and how well he played and Brandon Hagel and his goals. But one thing that not a lot of people are going to mention, and that's why you're here with me on the show today. Not many people are going to talk about the resilience and the mental fortitude of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I was busting the chops of Montreal fans last night because they talk all this shit about the home ice advantage. And look, we got some crusty old dude that comes in with a flame looking like he's a backup for the Olympics. And I know they're multiple Stanley Cup champions, whether it's Yvon Cornwallis or Serge Savard, whatever. Whatever. I'm just talking smack, right? But this home ice advantage you talk of, you were up 2-0 at home with a minute to go in the second period of a series that you were up 2-1, and you choked it away. How do you say Heimlich in French? Because I heard that all of the fan hosts after the game at the Bell Center had to go to the players' entrance, and they had to give the Heimlich to every player before they went into their cars and head home last night because they choked the game away. I don't know if that's true or not, but sometimes you don't want to ruin the fun with the truth. But think about this. In that same vein, what not a lot of people are talking about is the heart and the grit that the Lightning showed last night. Think about that. They could have wilted. They could have faltered. They could have went into a shell. We were wondering, right? We were wondering, what is this team all about? Where's the grit? Where's the fight? Where's the gusto? Where's the punch? We saw it in game 2. But I don't know if it's necessarily the physicality and the toughness that you can see. I think it's the intestinal fortitude, as they used to say in the 90s in the WWE. Where's their intestinal fortitude? When are they going to push back? That's what you saw last night from the Lightning. I was optimistic after game 2 because I thought that they figured out the right style, what was going to work for them. They figured out the right style because they knew that they had to manage the puck. And that's what you saw in the third period last night. The way that they were managing the puck, the way that they were getting the puck in the zone, the way they were getting the puck out of the zone, the way they killed that penalty at the end of the game, right? They showed a lot. But when you look at it, it has to be more than the physical. It's got to be the mental. And I thought last night how the Lightning showed physical growth in game 2. They showed the mental growth and the mental strength in game 4. And Fanatical, you're not wrong, buddy. And that's why I think the Lightning win this series. Young team versus experience. I've said it. I've got no issues with Montreal's style, Montreal's players, coaching, goalie. I've been thoroughly impressed with what I've seen from the Canadiens. No doubt about it. And I think this series is a lot closer than many people thought. Because it's funny, because the majority of the people, and there still was a good chunk of people that were picking the Canadiens in this series as kind of the trendy, sexy upset pick. But still, the majority of the people, I think, went with the Tampa Bay Lightning in this one. But with that being said, that doesn't take anything away from Montreal. And they can still win this series. Let's not get it twisted. And just because I'm a lot more optimistic about the Lightning after game 4, I don't want to talk about the next series. I don't want to talk about anything else. Because the Lightning still have to win 2 more games. And they did lose a home game in game 1 of this series. And if they don't bring that same type of physical and mental strength in game 5, they're going to lose. Because now Montreal, they're going to feel like they've got nothing to lose in game 5, right? Their backs are against the wall a little bit here. If they lose game 5, now it's like, all right, well, now the Lightning have 2 cracks to beat us. Montreal's going to be a dangerous team in game 5. The Lightning have to meet them. They have to meet the challenge. One Shade 2, what are your thoughts on Hedman coming back? Not this series. I don't know if he comes back at all, to be honest with you. But I got a lot of respect for the Canadiens. And I told you guys, they're one off season away from quite possibly being the first or second team. I don't know if they'll be as good as Carolina, because Carolina is such a force in the regular season. But Montreal's coming, man. They are coming. Chan's in the house. Everything Bagel is everything to this team right now. You got that right, buddy. Everything Bagel. Could you imagine if we had this version of Hagel in the 2022 Cup run along with a healthy point? Yeah. I mean, I still think that the Lightning probably win 3 Cups in a row if Braden Point doesn't go down there, because they didn't really test Darcy Kemper and net. They really didn't. And Jan Rutta, I think, did win in the one game that they won. The Lightning were just off. They needed that one guy to be able to go and have that firefight with Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, and they just didn't have it. Braden Point, I remember watching him on the ice there in Colorado during morning skate, and he fell, and everybody's like, and it wasn't like, oh, he fell, haha. It was like, oh, shit, he's not feeling it. Carter number 8, what's going on, my dog? Hope you're doing well, buddy. I miss you. Keep doing your thing on the field, my guy. But the Lightning win Game 4 of this series. It's 2-2 Game 5 Wednesday night at Benchmark International Arena. I head home tomorrow night, so I'll do the show from here tomorrow. I'll be home tomorrow night, and then I'll be there. Benchmark International Arena on Wednesday. I'll be there for morning skate. I'll be doing the show there, and then I'll be there for the game. It's going to be a wild one. It really is. And you look at this team right now, and you know that they want to show everybody that these first-round exits are a thing of the past, that this isn't something that they're going to get used to. And I tell you what, you want to see them. And I saw somebody here on TikTok say, Justin, a full 60 minutes would be great. Enough of the second and third period comebacks. I'm with you, but it's hard, man. It's hard to play a full 60 minutes in the playoffs. There's a lot of ebbs and flows. You could talk about that in pretty much any series. Nobody really plays a full 60 minutes. They really don't, man. They don't. You just have to be good at the right times. Shout out to John Oliver right here on TikTok. Jefferson with the big win. They smoked that team in their playoff game. I saw you guys do your thing, J.O. And there were so many great performances from our high school teams here, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. Sled Hockey Life 80 Sabres did yesterday. You're right. And I know you're probably a Buffalo fan. I tell you what, Buffalo's scary. And I think you can honestly say it's really Buffalo, Carolina, Lightning, Canadiens. Like, these are the top 4 teams. That's no disrespect to, Philly, Pittsburgh, whoever comes out of that series, and they'll most likely be Philly, but it would be nice if the Lightning would have to play Philly or Pittsburgh instead of a team like Buffalo in the next round if they do advance. But I'm hoping that we'll see. We'll see. If the Lightning play Buffalo, there's a really good chance. That they'll be able to go on and do their thing. Carter, I know this isn't a hockey thing, but my boy Andrew said the Lakers win in the Super Bowl. Any thoughts? They're definitely not going to win the Super Bowl. Will they win the NBA championship? I don't know. Looks like they're getting Austin Reeves back. Luka Doncic still hasn't played yet. LeBron played terrible last night, but it is what it is. They were up 3-0 on the road. Just OKC, man. OKC is too good, man. That's the thing. OKC is a problem, Carter. They really are. They're just so deep. And I know they're dealing with an injury to Jalen, but they got Shea. They picked up McCain in the mid-season. They got Lou Dort. They got Caruso, Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren. Like, they're just too much. They're too much. The Lakers are good. Maybe they'll go to the Western Conference Finals, but it's going to be tough to beat OKC. The only way OKC doesn't go back-to-back is if somebody gets, if they have a couple of bad injuries. But right now, I don't know. It's not good. But the Lakers, hell, man, keep doing your thing. Greg DeCruz, Knicks making finals would be great theater. Yeah, no doubt about it. They got to continue. They got to win Game 5 as well. Sergio Beltras, our guy, Game 5 is pivotal for the Bolts. You got that right, buddy. Whoever wins Game 5, in my opinion, is going to win this series. Whoever wins Game 5 is going to win this series because it's just been back and forth. And it's going to be tough for either one of these teams to win 2 games in a row. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Lightning win game 5, Canadiens win game 6, and the Lightning win game 7. Home ice advantage kind of like settles in. Yeah, Chan, you're right. That's the other thing, Carter, if you're still watching. The Spurs, man, winning that game without Wemby and then getting him back. I still think they might be a little bit too young, but they have the Thunder's number. Oh, Chan, that's a good one, buddy. That's a good one. Yeah, and we're definitely going to call we definitely got to call Benny. Benny, we definitely got to call Brandon Kravitz and talk some Orlando Magic because I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed by what they were able to do to come back because I thought they were dead to rights, and I think a lot of people thought they were dead to rights. You're right. I'm with you, buddy. Nick's going to get walked by the Celtics. I mean, I don't necessarily know. I think the Celtics team that they had last year is better than the one that they have this year, and the Knicks beat them. And I know Jason Tatum got hurt, but listen, they already went on the road and did some damage against them. So I am, I'm not giving you that one. Boston's really good. I think Joe Mazzulla is a hell of a coach, but we'll see. We shall see. All right, guys, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Hit that like button, guys. Sled Hockey, season ticket holder, went to the game against the Tampa Bay, all those fights. That's awesome, buddy. That is awesome. Tampa Blake, love the content. My number one stop for Tampa Bay sports. You say thank you to us, but seriously, thank you. Blake, thank you, man. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Guys, make sure you hit that like button, whether you're watching on TikTok like Tampa Blake and Sled Hockey, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Steve Garner with the $5 super chat. Historically, the winner of Game 5 and 2-2 series goes on to win the series 79% of the time. This is why he is our Carolina correspondent. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Garner. There is nobody like him. He is the best. Are you going to head to St. Pete as a fan this season? Don't quite know about that. Somebody said, is Penny Hardaway playing? No, he's not. Little Penny. Remember Little Penny? That was so cool. I love that. Guys, let me tell you something too before we move on to the Bucs draft. And let's not forget, Scott Reynolds is going to join us from Pewter Report as well. Wednesday night at Benchmark International Arena. This is very serious. The great Sonia Bryson Kirksey will be doing the national anthem for the 500th time for the Tampa Bay Lightning. What an incredible human being. What a wonderful woman and just an inspiration dealing with MS. You know, she served in the Air Force. She was really sick during COVID, guys. We did not know if she was going to make it. That shit was scary, man. It was one of those things where it was touch and go for a while there. Again, I get emotional just thinking about it. She is one of those people. There's such a beacon of light that lies within Sonia. I can't say enough great things about her. She's such an incredible human being. 500 games singing the national anthem for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and she shows so much respect to everybody. And shout out to Amanda Brivogel, who's probably going to do the Canadian national anthem. I love the energy and the passion that Amanda Brivogel sings the Canadian national anthem with. I always feel like, and I don't know if I'm like this, maybe I'm biased, but I just feel like sometimes you listen to the American national anthem on these Canadian broadcasts and like, it's just so like, oh, say, can you, like, there's no energy, there's no passion. And it's just like a standard, like, all right, we're going to do this and get rid of it. Where Amanda Brivogel, when she does the Canadian national anthem there at Benchmark International Arena, she does it with energy. She does it with passion. She does it with respect to the Canadians, not just in the building as fans, but also the players on the ice and the people that are watching all around the world. So that's something that doesn't get mentioned enough. And I just want to show love to the Tampa Bay Lightning and selecting somebody like that to care so much, to show that kind of respect. Speaking of caring, I know you guys care about our Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their draft class. And you know, you're seeing a couple of different grades and whatever. I don't really care about the grades. Show me guys that are going to make an impact. Show me a draft class that is going to get us excited about the 2026 season. And I think we got that from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I put this out on TikTok as well. Ruben Bain Jr. excited so much of our fan base, but what draft pick after him excited you the most? Which one did you like the best? And I think there's a couple of them. And you look at what the Buccaneers needed to address in the draft. And I forgot who said it, but I think the Buccaneers did such a great job of addressing so many different needs that they had, and they didn't have to reach. They didn't have to go out and get a guy that they didn't really need. And they got a guy at the end, and I'll talk about him first, with Bauer Sharp, who, I mean, you're drafting a guy in the 6th round. But this was a guy that, had a little bit of a different background. He changed from a quarterback to a tight end. He's a different cat. And if you're going to take a little bit of a if you're going to take somebody in the 6th round and he's like I don't think that's the worst time to take him. I think that is when you want to take a high risk, high reward type guy with the 185th pick in the draft. Right? I mean, what's the problem? Nothing at all. What was your favorite pick out of everybody when it comes to the draft for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Let me know. Whether it's on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, what was your favorite pick? And we'll include the Bain pick in there. Why the hell not? What was your favorite pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this weekend? And going through their draft class, and you start with Ruben Bain at 15, and not many people had Ruben Bain Jr. mocked to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they thought he would be gone by then. And we get so bogged down with the minutia of all the analytics and all the measurements that I think sometimes people tend to forget, like, guys are just good football players. You may not look the part. We focus so much on aesthetics when it comes to the NFL. It's so strange. We do that more with the NFL than any other sport. Well, he looks like this, and he looks like, who gives a crap what he looks like? Well, he looks great in the pocket. He's 6'5". Look how tall he is. He throws the ball over the top. He's got a great release. He throws the ball really hard. But he makes crap decisions. And he has no pocket presence whatsoever. Who gives a shit what he looks like? Ruben Bain's arms are short. If he could get to the quarterback and he has 12 sacks next year, who gives a crap how long his arms are? He's not a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I mean, let's not act like his arms are that short. I mean, my God. Now, I know some people did not love the Josiah Trotter pick, especially because there was a guy like C.J. Allen out there that a lot of people thought that the Buccaneers would go in that direction if they didn't draft a guy like Jacob Rodriguez, who was already off the board. But I don't hate picking a guy who's got the pedigree of an NFL player. I don't hate to draft a guy that I don't think was a reach. He was in that conversation of one of the linebackers available right there to do this. I think a lot of people said there was going to be 4 or 5 linebackers in that second round area, and the Buccaneers circled Josiah Trotter as the guy that they wanted. I don't think that's something that I'm really going to lose my mind over. I probably would have leaned towards C.J. Allen, but you're talking about a guy in Josiah Trotter who knows what it looks like. And I can guarantee you already that Antoine Winfield Jr. has already reached out to him. Already. They're going to have a bond. 2 guys whose dads were badasses in this league. And let's not forget, Josiah's older brother is already in the league. You can tell he's probably already talked to his dad. He's going to a place in Tampa where they're focused on the defensive side of the football this offseason. I really like how the Buccaneers did a really good job of throwing guys on this defense and just loading up. That's what we wanted to see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the first 5 picks on defense. Now, Ted Hurst goes in the 3rd round at pick 84 out of Georgia State. I don't quite understand how people don't like this pick. This is a big dude winning 50-50 balls, and he gives you something that this wide receiver core did not have. There were people that were mocking Ted Hurst to be a second-round draft pick and being probably one of the, what was it, 6th or 7th guys drafted in the middle of the second round. They got him in the 3rd. And this is a guy that, and again, we spoke about this the other day, or I said this on Friday night. The reason why Kenyon Sadiq was not a good fit for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because he did a lot of his stuff in the slot, closer to the line of scrimmage. And that's not necessarily what you wanted from him. You needed a guy that's going to be able to go out wide. And of course, we know how the Buccaneers offense performs when it's at a high level, right? They move guys around a lot. They're like that offensively and defensively. And especially with a guy like Zach Robinson calling plays that we're hoping is going to look a lot more like what we saw from Liam Cohen. You get guys that can play all the spots, but you needed a big guy that's going to help you on third down. You need a dude that's going to be a factor in the red zone. And think about it. If the guy's a little raw, what better place to go to learn from a couple of consummate professionals and Chris Godwin and Emeka Egbuka and the guys? I just think it makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. And who's going to double that guy? And let's say he does burst onto the scene and really be a factor early on in this season. And then defenses start rolling in his direction. Okay, good luck doing that. Now you're leaving Chris Godwin and Emeka Egbuka. Watch out for that. Keontae Scott is a guy that when you look at it, and Mel Kiper had him as number 80 on his board, and the Buccaneers get him in the 4th round at pick 116. This dude, if you remember watching Keontae Scott, he is like the Tasmanian devil. He's like the little kid at the Target that's running in and out of every single one of the clothes racks and just chasing everybody. I loved watching him play for the Hurricanes last year. Now he's on the Bucs. Now you have him and Jacob Parrish. Those are two guys that can play in the middle of the field and just disrupt everything. I don't care how big they are. They are quick. They make plays on the ball. He can play safety. This defense is looking a lot better than I thought. And then you get to Monte Capar. This guy is a monster. This is a big, big dude. 6'5", 315. You get him in the 5th round. There were some people when they were looking at some of these guys at Clemson, when you turn on the tape, they thought he made more plays than, who was it? Peter Burns. And we know what happened with him. And some people are thinking, well, kind of, was that hold on. I want to make sure I got it right here. Kane, the Bucs are coming back healthy, replace half the starters on defense. Might be a top 5. Might be a top 10 team. Okay. I'll make sure I get this right. Blake Miller. You know me. If I don't get something, I'm going to be pissed. Peter Woods. God, I couldn't think of it. I don't know. Peter Burns. Peter Woods. There we go. The guy that the Lions picked, 29th overall in the 1st round. I saw something over the weekend where Peter Woods. Thank you, TV Lee. Peter Burns. Bro, it's been a lot. And I got to listen, with the amount of sports that is up in the brain here, okay? Sometimes things go in there and sometimes they get stuck. And that's what I could not think. And I was just talking about Peter Woods too, about how he can help on the inside and helping a guy like Aiden Hutchinson. And they needed to get nastier with Dan Campbell. I was just reading the article on Campbell and how they're trying to reestablish the identity and get back to that tough-minded, grind-it-out type of team. I tell you what, man. When you look at Cape, I mean, this is a guy that when you turn on the tape really makes an impact and is a factor. You get him in there with Kalijah Cansey and Vita Vea, and now you have Ruben Bain. And like this defense looks completely different now. And I feel much better about the Bucs. Am I the only person that feels that way? And we're going to ask our guy, Scott Reynolds, here, because he and I'm very vocal about this. Our guy Nelly's on the TikTok. How you feeling, Nelly, about the Bucs draft? Because you look at the starters now with this team. Elijah Roberts played pretty damn well last year. Let's not forget about him. Vita Vea, you get nastiness with Ashawn Robinson. You got Ruben Bain. You got Trotter to mix in with guys like Alex Anzalone and Christian Rosaboom. You still have Servassier Dennis, Yaya Diaby. You bring in El Qadim Muhammad. You bring Nacho back, Elijah Simmons. You still have Anthony Nelson. You got David Walker. Like, we went from, oh my God, what the hell is this team doing, to, bro, how did this team get so deep so fast? Tyke Smith, Antoine Winfield Jr. It's going to come down to the corner play, because you have Jacob Parrish and Keontae Scott at the nickel position. And we're going to ask Scott Reynolds that here in a little bit. What does and fix your face or I will. I love that. Who was that guy? It was David Walker. And he was another guy, small school. But he was the guy that they were hoping on that would, be really good. He got hurt in training camp last year. Moody says, I think it's going to depend on the LB core after David. It could. But at times when you play with 4, 5, 6 guys out there on the, in the secondary, you're not playing with your linebackers as much. And that's what I want to ask. And thank you, T-Bomb. A lot of talk recently about kicking Parrish outside. That's my first thing when they drafted Keontae Scott as high as they did. They go, what does that mean for Jacob Parrish? Because they love Jacob Parrish. I'm telling you, they love Jacob Parrish. But is this one of those things where, okay, let's see if he can kick outside. Let's see if he can push Zion McCollum, who didn't play that great last season. Let's see if he can battle with a guy like Benjamin Morrison, who I know they like. And he's a bigger body than a Jacob Parrish. But with that being said, injuries are concerned. They are. The special teams is going to be better this year. Just think of it incrementally. And that's why I was more optimistic about the Buccaneers last year, is because I felt incrementally, were they going to be better than the year before? A little bit better here, a little bit better there. And I think when you look at it, and I like what Chris Cole's saying, imagine this NASCAR package of Yaya, Cansey, Bain, Walker, and AQM. I like that. And you look at some of the decisions that they made when you look at a guy like Miles Killebrew, who is a beast on special teams. New special teams coach. You're looking at this team and you're going, okay, I think they may give you a chance here in the division now. Because now you throw, where did they put on the, they got Ted Hurst there. You still got Cam Johnson. I did not think that this was possible. And you're right. Danny Smith, a special teams genius. They are building an identity, won't get pushed around. That's the toughness. The toughness that we wanted to see last year. Because Ian would ask me that. Jay, who's tough on this team? Who brings that grit? It's a good point, buddy. Good point. And I think we're starting to see the toughness. I think we are. Where's the website for the t-shirts? Blake, head on over right now. It is on Blake, what do you have? What social media platform do you have? Because you can hop on the link right now on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. Go to the YouTube page right now, Blake. Look, Jay Recher, look it up, and I'm going to put it right there, okay? Is Hagel the best contract in the NHL? Yes, he is. No doubt about it. All right, here's the link for the shirts. Blake, head on over to YouTube right now. It's going to be right there. Boom, 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 boom. There's the link, guys. Go get you some shirts. Bring the cup back to the Bay. PiratesBayPrinting.com. Every little bit helps, guys. Every little bit helps. the Jay Recher podcast. Click on the link there in the chat. Get your shirts today. We got some more shirts coming. Cannot wait to show you what else we have in store. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our friends Honest Hammer Custom Builders LLC. Our guy Honest Hammer, here he is. 100% right, Jay. I was waiting for some excitement. The only way I plan to buy back in is if we got Bane. That's it. And it happened. He's here. What's up, Chris Mathis, man? Watching us on TikTok. What's up, Spider? Hope you're doing well, buddy. Honest Hammer. Can't say enough great things about this guy. Just a great dude all the way around. Team Tampa Bay guy, just like you, a USF grad. He is unbelievable. 813-244-0956 for all your residential and commercial needs. When I talk about supporting local and surrounding myself with people that I trust and people that are just good dudes down to their core, I mean, there's nobody like Hammer, man. He's always got a positive attitude. He's always got a smile on his face. He's an award winner. Award winner, baby. You saw it here on the show. I usually have my hard hat. I feel like I have to bring my hard hat with me to NC sometimes because I feel weird not like going over to grab it and put it on my head. But Hammer's the best, man. Again, all your residential and commercial needs, kitchen, bathroom renovations, whatever you need. 813-244-0956. Go to thehonesthammer.com, thehonesthammer@gmail.com. Shoot him an email, get you a discount. Tell them they heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast. And let's not forget Evra Health as well. EvraHealth.org. EvraHealth.org. My friend Mallory, Steve's wife, she said she pronounces oil, right? Oil. Steve, help me out. Oil. So now it's in my head now. You got some cooking oil? Now you're killing me now. You're killing me. Damn. I think we might have to go because I'm leaving tomorrow. Steve, I might have to come over today, buddy. We might have to come over so we can watch Monday Night Raw or something, buddy. Because I want to see you guys before I leave. Gav2626. Jay, love you, man. Keep it up, my guy. Gavin. Is that Gavin, the former left-handed standout for Gaither High? Self-loathing narcissist. Any update on Dastu? Not yet. Oh, Gavin Gillespie. What a great pitcher you were at Gaither, buddy. I loved watching you. Give my love to the family your dad drew is awesome, man. You're the best, pal. Hope you're well. Give my love to the fam. Steve, I'll definitely let you know. I'll text Marissa. You're listening. Can we do this? Come on. Dr. Carlos Rodriguez every single Thursday right here on the program. The Ever Health Injury Report is nuts. It is so damn cool. You have to go check it out. Even, listen, people are missing out on it. You got to go back. The stuff we were talking about with Lamine Yamal for Barcelona was fantastic. The stuff with the youth baseball players, like this dude is absolutely incredible. Love it. He is the man. Everhealth.org, 17 different locations in Pinellas County. Do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do to get over there from the cradle to the grave. They want to help you out. They have a sliding scale for the uninsured. They take all kinds of insurance. They are the best. Kenny Morales on the TikTok, my guy, big Orlando Magic fan. I feel good for my Magic friends. I really do. We're going to have to get Brandon Kravitz on the show too, because I watched this team and I it's hard not to think they were a dumpster fire. And it was like, all right, it's over for these guys. They've tuned out Mosley. What's going on with Paolo Banchero? But they've showed up and showed out. They're probably, when you look at hockey and when you look at basketball, when you look at those two playoffs in totality, there are a few teams that I'm more impressed with so far than the Orlando Magic. They are just, it's us against the world mentality. And you never know how sometimes, like, is it where there's smoke, there's fire? Is there something to be said about some of the issues, right? Or is it a situation where you're making too much of this? There's too much noise on the outside. And a lot of times the teams can they hunker down and then they play with a chip on their shoulder. They play with that us against the world mentality. And that is what you are seeing from them. So kudos to Coach Mosley and the Orlando Magic. Just got to keep pushing. Will I drive and go watch them play? No, I'm not in the state of Florida, but they're up 2-1 in that series against Detroit. And Detroit's scuffling a little bit. number 1 seed there in the East. 8 o'clock game tonight on NBC. OKC and Phoenix, Minnesota and Denver. Wow. Denver returns home. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. Greg the Cruz, an objective viewer, Habs Bolt series has been the best series so far. It's not close. And I've watched every single series so far. Anthony Nick, thought Point looked good last night, but really need him to get going. He's the X factor. I read the super chat donations made through the app on iPhone means Apple charges additional 30. Oh, I did. No. To you? No. To me or you? No, I didn't see that, buddy. I didn't see that. I haven't gotten charged that so far, and I've been doing the super chats for the last 6 months, so I don't believe that so far. What's going on, Austin, on TikTok, guys? Questions, comments, concerns, put them there on the screen. Make sure you hit that like button wherever you are watching from today. Our guy Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report is going to join us momentarily. Self-loathing narcissist. I love this. I looked both ways before I crossed the street this morning just to make sure Max Crozier wasn't coming. That's a good one. I like that one a lot. Tell Coop to make Hagel captain when Hetty steps away from the game. I don't know. We'll see. And I put that out on social media, and some people say it'll be Kucherov, it'll be Gensel. It's going to be Hagel, guys. If it's not Hagel, it'll be maybe – no, it's going to be Hagel because you got – or maybe McDonough. Maybe it's McDonough. But it's not going to be Kucherov. He's going to be the assistant captain, and he's a direct example of like – don't do as I say, just do as I do kind of thing. He's not a rah-rah guy. But Hagel's been getting, been wearing that A lot the last year or so. So, yeah, Brandon Hagel. It's exciting. It really is to be able to watch what these teams were able to do this weekend. Probably one of the better weekends for Tampa Bay sports fans in a while when you look at what the Lightning, the Rays, and the Bucs were able to do. All right, let's bring him in. We're going to get our show a whole heck of a lot smarter when he joins us. The one and only Scott Reynolds, Pewter Report's own. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Celebrating that Bolts win last night, man.
Yeah, buddy. I took a page out of you guys' books. I went live last night. It was crazy last night. Everybody was jacked up, man.
That was cool.
It was a great weekend for
Tampa
Bay.
It really was.
Scott. Yeah. To see the fire and to see the fight. It felt really good, man. What'd you like about the Lightning game last night before we get into the Bucs?
I would just say just the resiliency coming back from that 0-2 deficit. It looked a little bleak right there when they scored that second goal. It was just like that was a bit of a gut punch. But it didn't surprise me in the end because I just you look at it, you felt like the Bucs, the Lightning were going to come back. The Bolts were going to come back and. Just because every single game has been so close. It's been decided by one goal. The first 3 games went into overtime, right?
Yep.
I just don't see either of these teams being 2 goals better than the other. I just don't. So the fact that it was decided by 1 goal was no surprise. Thankfully, it was the Lightning. I was hoping for that 3-0 shutout down the stretch, for the third period for sure, but then to get that goal right at the end of the second was huge. Yep. That was a huge little bit of a momentum swing there, and they almost tied it up too. When Braden Point took that with about 12 seconds left and just raced down the ice. But great win, man. And like you said, coming off the heels of a great draft by the Buccaneers, a just tremendous draft. This is, I said this in a Pewter Pulse video I did. After Ruben Bain was the draft pick, the first round pick by the Bucs at number 15. The Bucs fan base, and we've kind of seen it like with our web traffic and just the comments on our shows. This is a fan base that has been a little dejected, right? I mean, that losing streak down the second half of the season after the bye week to only win 2 games, to lose the division to Carolina, to finish with a losing record, to miss the playoffs after a hot 6-2 start was deflating. The fact that the team didn't move on from Todd Bowles really was deflating for a lot of fans. Then you have Mike Evans leaving for the 49ers. That was a gut punch. That made fans angry. Then you had Levante David retiring after 14 seasons. Probably needed to happen. Right. But still, sad, right? So you've got all of the emotions out there that Buccaneer fans have experienced, except for joy. this offseason, right?
Mhm.
They didn't really, have that needle moving free agent addition this offseason. And so Buccaneer fans kind of waiting on pins and needles for the draft. And I think Akeem Mesidor would have been a good player had the
Mhm.
Buccaneers picked him. And that was probably going to be the pick if Ruben Bain hadn't fallen to them at 15. But getting Ruben Bain at 15 when he was really the higher rated player than Mesidor. Mesidor, very good player. Don't get me wrong. Bain is 4 years younger, has got a higher ceiling. I think Mesidor comes in. I'm not saying as good as he's going to be, but a very low ceiling for him at already 25. I think Bain comes in with a much higher ceiling. And it wasn't just a game changer, Jay. It was a vibe changer. I mean, find me the Bucs fan who's not happy that Ruben Bain is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer right now, right? That was kind of a unanimous first-round draft pick consensus right there that, hey, everyone's pretty excited they got Ruben Bain. So I think, if anything, that really kind of changed the vibe and the mood in the Buccaneer fan base for the better.
I'm with you, buddy. I'm so glad that you went in that route because I was the same way. And there's such a huge part of that when it comes to being a fan, right? There's certain a level of excitement. And I feel like sometimes we get so enamored with the analytics and all. Like, it's entertainment at the end of the day. We want to have fun. We want to be proud of the team that we're cheering for. We want to see that the general manager and everybody's putting their best foot forward to put the best product on the field. Like that's an aspect of it too.
Sure. And
I'm with you. Like for the Lightning, and you see every single year, Julian Breezeball's like, I'll have to make a deal. If I have to make a deal, I have to make it. And that's where everybody's like, well, man, here's my $200. I'll support them because I know they're going to do whatever it takes. And I know a lot of people still would love Jason, like, oh, man, make a little more moves. But I was worried going into training camp that there wasn't going to be anything to help those that were disenfranchised with this team.
Yeah, that's right.
And Ruben Bain, I think, was really, based on where they were at, the only guy that they could have drafted to bring the fan base that much joy, Scott. I'm with you because
I agree.
I truly, and I wanted to ask you this too. Like, if Bain's not there, do they trade down? Because I think there may be an opportunity there. Because I don't know if a lot of people would have been, because there would have been people, if they would have stayed there and draft Mesidor, it's too high. I think if they would have traded down 21 or 22 and got Mesidor, people are like, all right, cool. We recouped a third or a fourth.
Right.
But I feel like it just kept being like that. I think some people, and we'll get to the other draft picks in a second, but I feel like Bain was kind of the perfect selection, not just for the team fit, but for the happiness and optimism of the fan base.
Yeah, it's like you want to feel like you've won, right? Either in free agency or the draft, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you root for these teams, whether it's the Bolts, the Lightning. You root for them because you want to win. They are your champion, right? It's like they're representing the city, they're representing the fan base, and they are your champion in the arena. But it's not just the Buccaneers that win; it's you, the Buccaneer fans. You want to have that win, and Bain was a huge win. And I would be shocked if this guy doesn't have not just a good career, but I think a great career. I'm not going to sit there and put him in the Hall of Fame. I'm not going to sit there and say he's going to be a 5-time Pro Bowler or 3-time. I have no idea. Let's get the guy in pads first and let's see. But damn, I like the player a lot and I believe in the player. I think he has a lot of intangibles. It's funny. We can sit there and we can measure everything from arm length to bench press to 40-yard dash times and stuff at the combine. And I'm not saying it doesn't matter. If it didn't matter, they wouldn't have it, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, there's so many things that you can't measure and you really can't quantify with the analytics. Football IQ, want to, will, perseverance, professionalism. And all of those things are ingredients to take really, really great talented players and make sure that they stay on track to becoming great players at the next level or even ascending and raising their games. Like Warren Sapp was the best defensive player in that draft in 1995, and he slid to Tampa Bay at number 12. There's been some Bain Sapp parallels, and I'm sure I see it too, right? They're both from the U. They're both like regarded as the best player in college football on the defensive side of the ball in their respective seasons. Sapp more than likely would have had a Hall of Fame career. He just the talent and the player who loved football and who just walked in with the badass attitude and he retired with the badass attitude. Like he didn't need any motivation, right?
Right.
He would have had an A- career just with his talent alone, right? That was the floor for him, really, A-. But being coached by Rod Marinelli
Right.
made sure that it was A+. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like Sapp was going to be A either way. It just with that coaching, it was going to be A+. And so I think Bain walks in already with some of those, like, I'm the best. I would do whatever it takes. I mean, the guy was coached up by Jason Taylor, for goodness sake, right? I mean, Hall of Famer, pass rush coach at the University of Miami, true professional. So he's got all of those things that Sapp had too. And not just Sapp, Rondé Barber, Derek Brooks, all the great Buccaneers, John Lynch, all of those intangibles, he's got those. And now it's just a matter of just making the transition to the NFL game. And guess what? It's not like his arm shrunk.
Yeah.
Or it's not like they're going to grow, right? He obviously has excelled and succeeded against NFL caliber offensive tackles in college, and he's learned how to win without having 35-inch arms, and he's going to figure that out at this level too, right? Oh, and by the way, it's like you're going up against Tristan Wirfs and Luke Gedeke in practice every day.
That's going to help.
I mean, Sunday should be easy after going up against those guys. You know what I'm saying? And so, and he was looking forward to that too. He even told me, I asked him the question, kind of like in the press conference after the press conference when the players come in and we have like a little informal chat with the beat writers. I asked him, I said, what's it going to be like going up against Tristan Wirfs and Luke Gedeke for that iron sharpens iron kind of thing? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, I want my welcome to the NFL rookie moment to happen in training camp, not during the regular season.
Right.
And you know, that was his way of saying, I want Tristan Wirfs to, you know, whip my ass and you know, and make me better so that when I'm ready to take the field in week 1, I'll have already been through the gauntlet. I've already gone up against the best offensive tackle in football, and I can hold my own, and I'll go out there and, you know, handle business during the regular season. So I think that's huge too. He's coming to the perfect environment where he's got that working for him. And I think a pretty good coach in Larry Foote too, who's going to get the best out of him.
And let's not forget, he went up against some good tackles last year at Miami too. I mean, the guy, so I mean, he had some good experience going against some top tier guys as well. I want to ask you about that second round pick with Josiah Trotter. I know a lot of people were, and I know a lot of guys, and you guys did such a great job at Pewter Report for your coverage all weekend long.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all
Thank
that,
you.
man. I chimed in, tuned in whenever I could. I know a lot of people wanted Jacob Rodriguez. I know that was
me too.
A lot of people like, oh man, that'd be great. And when he went, it wasn't surprising that, you know, he went before the Buccaneers had a chance.
Agreed.
But
and honestly, that's a big reason why. Like we had Jacob in our mock draft, but we also finagled, you know, that happening too. Like for example, in our mock draft, we had them trading down in the first round, drafting Akeem Messidor, getting an extra day 3 pick that they used to move up ahead of the Dolphins and grab Jacob Rodriguez. That was how that was going to have to happen. They were going to have to go up and surrender probably a 3rd round draft pick to move up and get Jacob Rodriguez. And right or wrong, they had Josiah Trotter and Jacob Rodriguez pretty damn close on the board.
Right.
And they really had designs on getting someone like Ted Hurst in the 3rd round. And they did not want to surrender that 3rd round pick because in their eyes, that's a starting caliber player. You look no further than Jalen McMillan, Chris Godwin, Tyke Smith. I mean, those are all Jacob Parrish last year. Those are all starting caliber players. And this is not a team that is 1 or 2 players away. This is a team that needs about 4 starters to come out of this draft. And I think they found them. But Josiah Trotter and Jacob Rodriguez are 2 very different linebackers. One is
Scott, before you keep on, throw in CJ Allen there too, because I thought he was the guy that, because when I doing my homework on him, I go, man, you're talking about a character of 15 on the 1 to 10 scale. He went to Georgia. I was like, oh man, this sounds like a top Bulls guy. Throw those 3 guys together, and if you can, and just let everybody know why the Buccaneers came to the decision you think.
What I can tell you with CJ Allen, it was the knee. Okay. It was the knee. There was. I'm not saying he was like crossed off the board, but there was a red flag on the knee, right? Because he hurt it against Texas, and then instead of having the surgery, he played through it, and then couldn't perform at the combine. Had to wait until the pro day. There was some mixed reviews with the pro day. I know he ran a 4.47. That's a good 40-yard dash time. But the only time a linebacker is going to be running 40 yards in a straight line is either recovering a fumble or getting a pick six, which is good, or chasing somebody on a breakaway touchdown, which is bad. You don't want that, right? No. So it's with linebacker, it's the lateral movement, it's the stop start, it's the quick, and they had a little bit of a flag on the knee, so that took him out of contention right there. So then it was down to those two. With Trotter, I've come around on it in talking to some sources that I have and I trust. I preferred Rodriguez, right, for sure, but with Trotter, the splash plays just really aren't there. With J-Rod, he's a takeaway machine. But as I was told, and it's true, if you look at Jacob Rodriguez's last 2 years, and J-Rod will be 24 this year, and Josiah Trotter just turned 21 like a week or two ago. Very young player, only 2 years worth of playing experience. J-Rod played 5 years. And if you go back and look at that sophomore production from Jacob Rodriguez, it's nowhere close to what it was the last 2 years, especially last year as an All-American. Who's to say that Josiah Trotter wouldn't have developed into that type of player? In other words, if he stayed in for his junior season, because he came out as a redshirt sophomore, maybe he's a first-round pick next year. I mean, he would have been one of the better linebackers in that draft. He and C.J. Allen were both first-team All-SEC linebackers. It's not like Josiah Trotter's a slouch. Yeah. His coverage is his weakness. There's no doubt about it. And so for me, I knocked the kid on not being turnover friendly, not forcing takeaways, and then also the coverage aspect. But those are some things that can come in time. If you look at Levante David's career, what made him special? Taking the ball away, right? 33 forced fumbles, I think, in his career, 31 recoveries, something like that. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but like crazy amount of takeaways, plus, the interceptions too. But if you go back to Nebraska, I think he had 2 forced fumbles and 2 fumble recoveries as a senior, and that's really it. He developed that ability at the next level. He wasn't this Jacob Rodriguez at Nebraska and at I think it was Junction City Community College out in Kansas. He wasn't that guy. He was a tackling machine who made a couple of splash plays, but then he became that at this level. So maybe that's the trajectory of Josiah Trotter. The last thing I'll say is, and we had him as a Bucs best bet because we knew that Jacob Rodriguez wasn't going to be there. So we had him as a Bucs best bet. We nailed the pick. But one of the other things that really kind of stands out about Trotter to me is you see the game, the yin and the yang with offense, right? A couple years ago, it was spread. It was 11 personnel, 4 receiver sets and all of that, wide receiver screens. And as a result, you needed faster, more mobile linebackers that could cover. And I'm not saying that you don't need those. You still do. Right? This is still a passing league. But what have we seen over the last couple of years? I mean, Sean McVay is the trendsetter. 13 personnel. Seahawks running a lot of 12 personnel. Even Zach Robinson ran a lot of 12 personnel in Atlanta. Granted, he had to, and he didn't have Drake London. But teams are more. They're more running back friendly now. They're looking to, and you look at some of these backs where they're drafted. Jeremiah Love, top 5 pick. Christian McCaffrey's a top 10 pick, still getting the job done. You had Gentry last year from the Raiders. He was a top 10 pick. Jahmyr Gibbs was a top 10 pick. Bijan Robinson was a top 10 pick. Teams are still investing in premier running backs, and they want to run the ball. Because now what's happened is after a couple of years, these teams have gotten these smallish linebackers, right, that are now down to 225 to 230, and now teams are like, we're going to go 12 and 13 personnel with extra tight ends, and we're going to run the ball down your throat because you really have these nickel linebackers now, and I think that's why they wanted a linebacker who could stack and shed at 240 pounds. That's Josiah Trotter, and honestly, he can do that better than Jacob Rodriguez at 230. And I love J-Rod, but he was more of a block slipper, right, than he was a guy that can literally take on the guard, shed, and then fill the hole and get those tackle for losses and rush the quarterback and all that. So Josiah Trotter is a work in progress. I don't know that he's going to come in and be an instant impact player, but they're taking a chance on the upside. And I think that what Todd Bowles and Jason Lant want to do is either stay right at the curve or get ahead of the curve and say, this running the ball thing is going to become even more of a trend. Yeah. And we have to get bigger along the defensive line. And they did, and they have through free agency and the draft to handle that.
Yeah, and I always love a good legacy pick too, right? I mean, nothing's going to surprise him. I think I said before, I guarantee you that Antoine Winfield Jr. has already reached out to him, right? Like if he's going to be able to get into his homework and get into the book, like we saw Antoine Winfield Jr. I mean, guys like that, sometimes if they do have any physical limitations mentally, and as you alluded to, things that you can't quantify as far as being a professional, that's not going to catch him off guard. What about the rest of the class? I love Ted Hurst. I think it makes so much sense. Too. I mean, the more and more research I'm doing on this guy, and I'm watching, I'm like, there's people that had him in the second round. Like there are some people thinking like, oh, he's a mid-second round, he'll be out, and I'm like, and he's exactly the type of wide receiver they need, Scott. I mean, all these different guys that are going to be playing in the slot. You need a guy that's going to be able to go up and get it, help you on third down, help you in the red zone. What do you like more about Ted Hurst than the rest of the guys that they were able to pick?
The thing with Hurst, and we had him as a Bucs best bet too. We were at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, and we're like, you know, this was at the Senior Bowl. Keep in mind, this is where the news broke. Tony Paulin, a good friend of mine, broke the news that Mike Evans might be leaving Tampa. And I know a lot of Buccaneer fans are saying, "Oh, there's no way he's a Buccaneer. He's not going to leave," you know. And I talked to Tony more about it, and I understand exactly where that was sourced from, and that's why we put a lot of credence into it at Pewter Report. We're like, folks, this is different. This is not like Rondé Barber re-signing with the Bucs or Levante David. There's a different situation happening this year. And so at the Senior Bowl, we're like, wow, who's this Georgia State wide receiver? Like, he's pretty good, you know? And he really dominated. And that's what you want. You want a guy that is going to be able to dominate smaller school competition. Like if you're going to be that, I think David Walker last year, I mean, getting all those sacks at the FCS level for Central Arkansas. Then, like David Walker, you got to be able to go to Mobile and prove in practice that you can step up and play with the big boys. And he did. He dominated some of those practices, some of those reps. So we liked him a lot there. And then we found out at the Combine, he was the only formal interview this team had. And granted, like, it's no surprise that at the Combine, they were still hopeful to get Mike Evans back. Mike Evans wasn't gone yet. Free agency hadn't started. So you're kind of thinking, all right, well, they obviously like him enough to formally interview him, even though, you know, Mike Evans is in pencil. And then in pen, we've got Chris Godwin, Emeka Ibuka, Jalen McMillan, Tez Johnson, right? And so we kind of started to put that together. We watched more film on him. We kind of fell in love with the guy. We made him a Bucs best bet. He was the draft pick. We thought if he's going to go, it's going to be the third round, right? Because I don't think he's going to slip to the fourth round, especially when he ran the 4.42. So where I really see his fit, because I don't think he's going to come in and just replace Mike and be 1,000-yard receiver out of the gate. He's going to be more of a complementary guy to this receiving room. And I'll say this, and I mean absolutely zero disrespect to Mike Evans, like none, because he is an absolute legend. Build a statue of the guy, put it outside of Ray J as far as I'm concerned, right? But where he will be missed the most this year is not moving the chains and getting first downs. I think that any of those three starting receivers, Chris, Mech, and J-Mac, can all do that. And I think that their passing attack is going to be more piecemealed. I don't think they're going to have a dominant receiver. It's Baker's going to throw to the guy who gets open. Wouldn't be surprised if this team has three receivers with over 700 receiving yards and none with 1,000 this year. I really see that. This guy has a 100-yard game this week. That guy has a 100-yard game the next week. I think that's how it's going to go. But where you're going to miss Mike is in the lower red from 10 yards in. Those jump ball fade passes that Mike Evans made look easy. Those layup touchdowns, you know, when I say layup, it's like, you know, literally above the rim, right? That's where you're going to miss Mike with that 6'5" frame. That was the missing ingredient to this year's wide receiving core. 6'1" Godwin, 6'1" Ibuka, 6'1" Jalen McMillan, 5'10" Tez Johnson. They didn't have that guy that could go up and high point the ball and win those contested catches. And now they have a guy at 6'4" that has some ups that can do that. And so I think that's where he is a great complement to this offense. He also has the speed vertically. Should he play X, you can also play him as a big slot because he caught a lot of slant passes too. You watch the Georgia State film. He made a living on slants because he had the afterburners to kick it in and get the yak. So he's more than just a jump ball, contested catch, vertical threat. He can do other things for you. And you look at how Drake London was used in Atlanta with Zach Robinson. He was an X for part of the time. He was also a big slot. And we even saw Liam Cohen and even Josh Grizzard last year use Mike Evans as a big slot with that 6'5" frame to create some mismatches. Also, too, to help Mike at age 32 get some freer releases off the line of scrimmage. Let's not, kid ourselves. So I really like the pick. And so, I mean, it's like, you love the Bain pick. I understand the Trotter pick enough to like it. I love the Hurst pick. I mean, we're rolling. We're rolling into day 3 now. And then you're telling me Keontae Scott is available in the 4th round? Like, sign me up. Like now we're rolling. We're 4 picks in. Now you've got DeMonte Capehart, a player that we learned very late in the process, came in for an official 30 visit. This is a guy that really hasn't put it all together. I mean, athlete galore at 6'5", 313 pounds, maybe 6'4", 313 pounds, running a 4.85 in the 40-yard dash. And if you watch the tape, I mean, forget the combine. The tape is what's exciting. He has got strong hands. He is a people mover. He is like a Vita Vea type where he'll take the guard or center and just drive him right back in the backfield, shed and make a tackle for loss. He's not really going to be a great pass rusher, but I think there's some upside there to work with. But more importantly, he's going to come in as a rookie and maybe get somewhere between 10 to 20 snaps per game, right? So you're going to ease him in.
Right.
He has the chance to eventually be Ashawn Robinson's replacement at the 4-5 technique defensive end spot, which is really the 3rd defensive tackle spot in that 3-4 defense when they're in base. That was the Logan Hall role that he played, and not very well. But then he also has the ability to play nose tackle. So very much like Ashawn Robinson, who will be that starter in the 3-4, next to Vita Vea and opposite Kalijah Cansey. But then he'll also be a player in a 4-down situation like nickel, where he can go in at nose tackle and do Vita Vea things and push the pocket. Well, DeMonte Capehart can do the exact same thing. So he literally will slot right in behind Ashawn Robinson and be able to play both of those roles. I think Elijah Roberts probably is more of the backup 3 technique, right? And what I like about that is here you have a guy that kind of underachieved due to all of his physical gifts and tools, just wasn't that like consistent down in, down out, like where he could wreck the series. He would wreck a play, but he wouldn't wreck a series. So you put him in a room with 31-year-old Vita Vea, 2-time Pro Bowler, 31-year-old Ashawn Robinson, Mr. Ass Kicker, and 32-year-old Nacho, Raheem Nunez-Roches, who's energy. And those 3 grown men are going to get this guy to grow up quickly, the right way. They're going to take him under their wings and say, man, like, son, you got some ability, and we're going to get it out of you. We're going to show you how to be a pro, and you're going to be a future starter. And I think there is a chance he could be Vita Vea's eventual replacement if he gets to that level where he can be a starting nose tackle type. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, real quick before I let you go, no more excuses for Todd Bowles.
That's right.
I mean, there's no like this. I appreciate that, right? Like, I appreciate because, like, you and I both know, like, you and I were both like, I don't know, they're bringing him back, but we nothing but respect for the man.
Of course,
there's no excuses, Scott. There's no excuses. Like, you looking at the depth of this defensive side of the football, it looked way better than it did just a week ago. And listen, I want people to be like, I was wrong. Todd figured it out. Todd figured it out. This is it. Rather than being like, oh, I hope this team does poorly so we can get him out of there. Like, you want to see people kind of flip the script a little bit. No excuses for Todd going into 20.
I've had dialogue with Todd, and I appreciate his professionalism. And I'm like, Todd, like, I've called for you to be fired. At the same time, prove me wrong. I'm happy for you to prove me wrong and take this team to new heights. Because my problem is, in 8 years as a coach, I'm including the Jets time because he did have a 10-win season there. It was good. Started off great in New York, right? 10 wins out of the gate. And then he's had in 4 years here, 1 10-win season. And it's like you look around and Kyle Shanahan, he had a 12-win record last year with just as many injuries. Like they couldn't rush the passer last year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They had no pass rusher whatsoever. And yet they got 12 wins. And granted, the Bucs beat them, but the Bucs were also 8-9, right? And you look at Shanahan, he's 9-3 in the postseason, Jay. Think about this. Kyle Shanahan is 9-3 as the 49ers head coach in the postseason. And out of those 3 losses, 2 of them were to Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So if you remove those, I'm just saying, just put them aside for a second. He's 9-1, and he's been to 2 Super Bowls. And forgive him, he couldn't find it in him to beat one of the greatest quarterbacks and one of the greatest head coaches, to do it. And I know that pisses off 49ers fans, and and Kyle Shanahan detractors love that. But I'm just saying, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's the facts, though. Yeah,
it's the facts. So if I'm Todd Bowles, it's like, I'm also looking across the state if I'm the Glazers and saying, here's Liam Cohen. We had this guy in the building. He left, and we didn't allow him to take a single coach with him last year, not one. And he took a 4-win Jaguar team, and they won 13 games. You can sit there and say, okay, well, the AFC West sucks. Guess what? So does the NFC South.
You're right.
AFC South sucks. So does the NFC South, right? So you can't sit there and say, well, Liam had that easy division. I mean, we have 3 teams finish 8-9 here, man. Like not even a winning record in the NFC South. So yes, Todd Bowles, he's got to break that 10-win ceiling. I mean, in my opinion, for him to remain on the job, he's got to get the Buccaneers back to double digits, and if not more. And then he's got to prove that he could do something in the postseason, because he's sitting at a 1-3 record in the postseason. And it's at some point in time, the Glazers are going to come to their senses and say, we've maxed out. They did it with Tony Dungy, who at the time was the winningest coach in Bucs history, the man who turned the franchise around. And they also did that with John Gruden, the man who delivered them their first Super Bowl, and at the time that he was fired, was the winningest coach in franchise history, surpassing Tony Dungy. At some point in time, Todd Bowles is going to have to rise up and show he's more than a 10-win coach, and he can be an effective coach in the postseason. And guess what, Jay? The time is now, because if it doesn't happen this year, I don't know that it's going to happen, to be honest.
Couldn't agree with you more, my friend. At Pewter Report on all social media platforms, pewterreport.com. Scott, Matt, the entire crew over there crush it every single year, not just during draft weekend, but pretty much 365 days, 366 days on a leap year as well. Scott, I always appreciate you, my brother.
Appreciate
Keep up
you,
the great
EJ.
work.
Thank you.
Take a nap or something this week, all right? You need a
I was poolside like yesterday, and I fell asleep twice because of the 3-day draft coverage that we had. So
the draft extravaganza, man.
I might actually go out to the pool right now. I've got about 2 hours before the podcast, so I might do that. So
you're the man. Thanks, Scott. We'll talk soon, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. The great Scott Reynolds, Pewter Report. They do such a phenomenal job. And I want to show you something real quick before we get to Greg Lenelli. Look at this right here. Joe Bucs Fan TV, $5 super chat. And look at Never Had a Chance 05. Big ups to Joe Bucs Fan for the love to PR. Love both outlets. Man, we're so lucky that we have just incredible coverage of our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then okay, Greg DeCruz. Jay, the transition you've made from radio to streaming has been phenomenal. You never really know when you make that leap how it'll go. Well done, buddy. I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words. And as I say that, I want to say something about a guy that I really, the last time I had something, I'm going to put something else on here real quick. Let's bring him in as I work on it. It's our guy, Greg Lenelli. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
How we doing, man? Can you hear me?
I'm great. How are you? I can. How are you?
Life is good, man. Life is good.
What's new? What's new over there by you, buddy?
Ooh.
How was last night?
Last night was pretty crazy. It's funny. I mean, every game, as you know, in a playoff series is important, but I feel like game 4 last night was interesting because if you tie it, maybe the series is a little bit different now. Lightning go home with the series tied. They lose that, though. They're down 3-1, and that's a tough hill to climb.
It is.
So it was crazy, especially going down 2-0. I mean, who thinks, you're going to come back necessarily in a playoff setting like that, but they did.
Yeah,
pretty wild.
I mean, just an unbelievable show. I was kind of busting the on the Montreal fans last night. Everybody's talking about how great the atmosphere is there in the Bell Center, and it's like, you guys were up 2-0. You guys were up 2-0 at home, 2-1, and you blew it. You choked. I got no sympathy for them whatsoever. I mean, they have to be looking at this series as a bunch of missed opportunities, no?
I mean, that would be a missed opportunity. Look, you can make a case first 3 games going to overtime that they were fortunate to win 2 of those. That's fine. They put themselves in a position to do it. Kudos to them.
Yeah.
I think last night could be a game you go back and you look at and you say, okay, wait a minute. That's a game we got to close out. We're up 2-0. I know the Lightning are who they are. That would be a missed opportunity. You can get a couple of those each series, and now the Lightning have to take advantage of that coming up on Wednesday.
How's the house? Your parents still there?
No.
They left?
They went back. They left. Well, they wanted to get back early because the draft.
Yeah,
was in Pittsburgh.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they were concerned about traffic and
Smart.
getting transportation from the airport to where they live. I mean, I think there was what? Did I read that? 385,000?
Wow, man.
I mean, that's insane. That's insane. I mean, that would have been cool. That would have been back in the Pittsburgh days. That would have been cool to cover because we had the affiliation with iHeart, the station that I worked. So we had the Steelers' rights, and so we have an all. At the time, it was a Steelers 24/7 station. So, you'd be set up at Steeler headquarters, and you know how that goes. You did it with the Tampa Bay Bucs. I mean, it's a pretty cool time. The draft is a pretty cool time for people in our industry.
So I went live last night after the game, and I spoke, and it's kind of ironic that I said it, and then Coop said it probably 5 minutes later, and I didn't take it from him, but we almost said the same exact thing of Max Crozier's hit may not have just changed the game, but changed the entire series. And I think it could be the play that when you look back on it, if this team makes a long postseason run, you go right there. That play right there, hitting Juraj Slafkovsky in the neutral zone. Because you saw right after that, they got a power play, but then Hagel takes the penalty, so then they go 4-on-4. And I was so impressed, and I don't think enough people are talking about the mental strength of the Lightning last night. You'll talk about Crozier and Hagel and Vazzy and Cooch and all that stuff, but their ability to not score on the power play or to give up the power play and to not be deterred, I think was huge. But that hit on Crozier is something that if they win this series, I think you'll point to it and go, that was the seminal moment right there.
Could be legendary in some ways.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You feel for him too because he took a penalty earlier in the game, so I'm sure he felt awful about that. His first game back, or in the playoffs. So, I mean, a lot of people like Max Crozier, and it was unfortunate he was injured late in the season, came back, and Coop talked how important it was to get him in that Rangers game. But I mean, the team responded after that hit.
Yeah,
they just did, and so, my sense is everybody who was in the lineup for Game 4 will be back in Game 5, and we'll see how it plays out. And you mentioned being mentally strong, too. I mean, Lightning had, a minute 11 of 5-on-3 power play time?
Yeah.
And that can be devastating if you don't.
What does Coop say? And I said this last night. Coop says if you have over a minute of 5-on-3 time and you don't score, that team loses the game 90% of the time. But they didn't go down, Greg. And I think that's the big thing with the game last night.
Yeah, they did.
It's they could have faltered. They could have, and I ultimately I think that is what could be the difference in this series. I feel like Slafkovsky has not been the same since Game 1. I think he was kind of embarrassed by what happened with Hagel. I think he was just handing the puck over at the end of Game 2. He hasn't really been much of a factor 5-on-5. He was shooting the puck a little bit more last night, but that hit rocked him. Their first line does not look like they're doing much damage 5-on-5. But the Lightning had an opportunity to wilt last night. And to be fair, I think they would have done that in the last 2 years. I think they would have had real trouble to come back if they went down 2-0, or they would have had real trouble if they didn't score on that 5-on-3, right? And it's just like you're showing a little bit different type of mentality, I think, this season that I think should bode them well over these final 3 games if they do get there in this series.
Yeah. And, I think having a guy like Brandon Hagel, lean on him. I mean, he's been just incredible. I think that helps. I guess he had some choice words for his teammates on the bench. Coop referenced that a little bit. That I think that's what you need sometimes in those settings. And they've faced a lot of adversity this year. So maybe you mentioned the mental part. Maybe they're mentally strong. There's a lot of things. I mean, look, they're playing this series without their captain.
Yeah.
Hey, look, any other team, that would be a big deal.
Yeah.
And it is kind of a big deal for the Lightning.
Yeah.
I mean, but they've been able to figure it out. And so I think, that's a credit to those guys in that locker room for sure. And Coop.
Yeah, Coop, you're right. And I think it's a built-in excuse for many other teams if that would have happened. Like who else would have been able to really circle the wagons and be able to play at such a high level? I don't know if there's any other team in the NHL that'd be able to do that. But you mentioned Brandon Hagel. Greg, it's hard. Like, I don't even know how you I compared him to Brad Marchand today. I feel like he's kind of that guy, winger that kills penalties, that is on the power play. He's on your team, you love him. He's on the other team, you hate him. He's making that type of impact. Because you remember when Boston was flying and Marchand was at the top of his game, he was scoring 30, 40 goals. He was a dynamic penalty killer with Patrice Bergeron, kind of like what Hagel has with Cirelli. And he did not shy away from embracing the role as villain. And I don't know how you can really characterize it because he's not the best player in the game. Of course, that's still McDavid, McKinnon, McCarr, Draisaitl. There's like 5 or 6 guys there, right? But like, it's hard to say there's not a more impactful player, right? Or right now in the game, because I don't know if there's anybody in the National Hockey League that can really do what Brandon Hagel does. Like, what do you need? What do you need? Brandon Hagel can do it. Like McDavid's not doing what he's doing. McKinnon's not doing what he's doing, right? They're not going to drop neither one of those guys are dropping the gloves, right? Neither one of those guys are going to be being your first guy over the boards on the penalty kill. They'll kill penalties, but not like that, right? I don't know if there's anybody in the game right now like Brandon Hagel, and he's the main reason why the Lightning have this series tied at 2 apiece.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I mean, Hagel might be a little bit better of a fighter. Maybe a lot better fighter than Marchand.
Right. More willing. Probably more willing. Yeah.
Hagel can throw him. I mean,
not as good of a licker though.
That's right. But I mean, nobody saw this coming, did we? When he was traded,
nobody.
Did anybody see this? I mean, if people say they did, I think revisionist history there. If you thought maybe he was a 20, 25 goal scorer, yes, okay, I'll meet you halfway and say okay.
No way, Breeze.
But I mean, this.
No way.
I mean, it's
maybe he did.
This guy is. I mean, Team Canada. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
He's on Team Canada.
Team Canada. That's what we're talking about. We can talk about his individual numbers. I mean, look, this is a guy who's going to get you 30 to 40 goals a year, in addition to all the other things you've just said. Mm-hmm. And he was a member of Team Canada, arguably the deepest country when it comes to players. I mean, the United States, fine, we can have those conversations. Yeah. But I mean,
you need the roster over number 1 overall draft picks. Like
what a trade!
Yeah,
what a trade! I used to think the Corey Conacher, Ben Bishop was. I mean, because in some ways that was lopsided. Bish was an incredible goaltender. And look, he even helped Vasi. So if you want to throw that in there, you can talk about that. But I mean,
is that the best trade in Lightning history?
I think we need to start. I'd be curious if you threw that out to your audience. You'd maybe even a poll question.
Yeah,
and you'd have to go back and find. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 we're missing that you'd be like, Greg, that was actually pretty good.
I'm going deeper than that, brother. I think it might be the best trade. I mean, obviously the best trade will probably be John Gruden, right? Because, the Buccaneers traded for him. They won the Super Bowl. But when it comes to players, it could be the best trade in Tampa Bay sports history.
I mean, Vassie, you traded for a draft, like you got a draft pick, which then you ended up selecting him. So I'm not sure you can go that route, right?
I don't think you can do that route. And I'm just thinking about like the guys that for the Bucs, like you traded back to draft Tristan Wirfs, or you traded up one spot to get Tristan Wirfs. You know, Brady, you signed, you kind of traded for Gronk. You did trade for Gronk, but I don't look at that as necessarily like a trade. Like this was a legit trade, player for player with draft picks. You traded a lot. And that's the thing. It wasn't like you didn't pay. It's like you gave up 2 first-round draft picks and 2 players that were in your system for a while, right? In Kachuk and Radish. And you ended up with the better end of the deal. Like that's even better than a trade of like, oh, you traded one guy for 3. Like the other, everybody always says like, oh, you traded Chris Archer to get Meadows and Boz and Glasnow and stuff like that. Sorry, Pittsburgh guy. But but that's almost like you got one over. Yeah. Like Chicago still got like a good deal in that deal, but it just, I don't know if anybody, and I remember the first day, Greg, when he walked into the locker room and this kid looked like a child that went to New York City for Christmas for the first time when he was 5.
Yeah.
His eyes were like this, and I'm like, how the hell is this guy going to help this team? And now you look at him. I think he's got to be the next captain of the Lightning, man. I really do. Like, I just think it's the perfect fit. Kucherov's not going to want any part of that. I mean, if it's not McDonough, because McDonough's the natural guy, but he's only got a couple of years left. I think it's just natural. He's already wearing the A. He's worn the A a couple of times this year where, people didn't understand. Like, wow, yeah, Hagel's wearing an A tonight. I think he's got to be the next captain.
Yeah, that'd be hard to argue. McDonough, by the way, would probably be another guy you could throw in there for a trade in terms of impact, right? I actually think you could probably do Chernak too from the Kings. Just based off of what he's done, but
no, McDonough's probably right because you got McDonough and Miller in that trade with Brett Howden and Leroy Hayek, and a couple of picks went the other way, and the Rangers screwed that up. What else is new? But you're right. I mean, it's one of those
that happens.
Deals that, it certainly has happened.
More mind-boggling. How about this one? This is fun. In terms of impactful, both ways. So Hagel, I think. Hard to disagree. That might be the most impactful. Was Tanner Jeannot the worst pick? in terms of what they gave up.
The worst move,
in terms of what they gave up, right?
The highest price. I mean, the worst moves were drafting drafting Tim Beckham over Buster Posey, drafting Roberto Aguayo in the second round, and then trading for Tanner Jeannot. I think those are the 3 worst moves.
And Julian, there aren't many. I mean, there aren't many you can find.
Bringing in Kunis wasn't great. Who was the guy last year? Sherry wasn't great. Cam Atkinson wasn't great.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Speaking of another move that people questioned, what did you think about the play of Oliver Bjorkstrand last night? He only played 8 minutes and change, but I thought, he was a guy that didn't take anything away. I thought he had a couple of looks where if you get a couple more, you never know. Man, I just feel like he's going to score one, Greg, in a weird point, shot on net.
I mean, that's fair.
Goes off the defense in that quick release. Like it's going to be, it probably won't be pretty, but who gives a crap at this time of the year? How did you think Oliver played in his first game of the postseason last night?
I think he was fine. Maybe it's because my expectations have been lowered,
right,
based off of how the season's gone.
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. I think you're right. I'm thinking.
That being said, I'd throw him back out there again.
Me too.
I throw him back out there because if you're thinking, look, Montreal's blocking a lot of shots, we're having trouble, scoring as much as we'd like. He can shoot the puck, so there is always that threat, more so than a Sabrin, who I think again serves his role. So Bjorkstrand did enough in my eyes, not that it matters at all, that I would throw him back out there again to give him another look.
I agree.
Let's see what happens. Let's see that shot.
What were your thoughts? Because I was very vocal on. I thought John Cooper needed to coach better in Game 4. I thought in Game 3 and Game 2, the fact that he had Sabrin and Perry out there at the end of the game is just inexcusable. They're lucky they won in Game 2 because if they didn't win, everybody would be talking about how the heck do you have Scott Sabrin out there with 3 minutes left to go in the game, in a game at home that you need to win. I thought he did a really good job of utilizing Max Crozier, moving Lillibert back to the left side, and also putting Bjorkstrand in there. Is that fair with the assessment of John Cooper? And listen, I think people get into a situation where if you question Cooper or Brisebois or any other coach or GM that has had success in the past, you think they suck or you want to get rid of them. That's not the point. But nobody's perfect. And I think you're naive if you think that these guys are going to go through their entire careers and not make any mistakes. What have you made of John Cooper and the coaching staff through the first 4 games?
Typically what they do well, I think they have a pretty good pulse of combinations, when things are working, when things aren't working, making lineup changes. I'll tell you one thing I did see yesterday, and it was on the Hagel goal was it to tie it? It was on the power play. So Gensel took Kucherov's spot.
Right.
Gensel gets it down to Kuch down low, which is usually where Gensel is, and then slid it to Hagel, who had position. And I felt like that was a little bit of a minor adjustment on the power play, because usually Kuch is out there. I was surprised to see Geeky to start the playoffs. So I don't know how much of that impacted the game, although he did take a penalty, right? And a lot of people would say it did. It did change the complexion of the game. So, you know what, man? I think maybe it's because the first 3 games went into overtime. I didn't think the coaching was the reason they lost 2 of those 3. Not saying you did either.
No, yeah.
But I think it's been fine. I think it's been fine. I don't know if there's anything that I would do differently other than I probably would have started Bjorkstrand this series to get going, just to kind of reset and see how that plays out. But I'm just a talk show host who has an opinion here and there, maybe.
What have you made of Montreal so far this series and Marty St. Louis? I mean, obviously the Lightning have done a good job 5-on-5 with that top line. That seems to be like the huge storyline for Montreal. It's funny how when certain media outlets get their hooks into something and they just that ends up being the entire narrative for the entire game, the entire series. Right. But I've been impressed with Montreal, man. I really have. I think they're a year away. I think they're a really good offseason away from being a real heavy hitter there in the East. But I've been impressed, man. I really have. I think they may have blown the opportunity in Game 4, but I even if the Lightning win this series, I'm not going to besmirch Montreal at all because I think they have some real talent there.
They definitely do. I'm actually a big Mike Matheson fan on the back end. I love the way he skates and can move. He just flies. I do like that. I think Dobish has been good. I don't know if the Lightning have tested him as much as they've tested Vasi.
Right.
And so I'm not saying it's a weakness. I'm just saying I don't know what I don't know there.
A little bit of an unknown. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of it. I mean, he's obviously done well. I think they've defended better than I thought.
Yeah,
for sure. I think we've seen that a little bit, though, in these playoffs. Philadelphia being one of them. But Montreal, I think, has defended well. Josh Anderson, I think, has made his presence felt to a degree in this series. That's been a net positive for Montreal. I don't know what to make of their number 1 line, not really figuring it out yet. I usually feel like star players will in a 7-game series, so I don't think you've heard the last from those guys, but I do think if they don't get going, I like Tampa Bay's chances even more in this series. So super talented. I don't know about their goaltending still to a degree, but I think they've defended better than I thought.
Yeah.
And that would be my assessment of Montreal.
What are you looking for on Wednesday night? What's the main thing that you're keeping an eye on in that Game 5?
Probably, again, the matchups.
Right.
In terms of Cirelli having that role against Suzuki, because so far through 4 games, it's gone in the way of Tampa Bay. I mean, it has. The Lightning are in position with an opportunity for the series to go back in their favor, I think in large part because the Cirelli line has done a nice job of at least limiting 5-on-5, the Suzuki line. But I am curious to see if the Lightning are able to come out early in the first 5 to minutes, because I feel like we haven't really seen too much of that. Even in these playoffs, I feel like, you know this, Jay, watching as much hockey as you have, usually in like the playoffs for a home game, the home team typically comes out first 5, 7, 10 minutes and just dictates play, and maybe they don't lead. Yeah, but they're getting shots on goal. And you're like, well, this is the start they wanted, and there things kind of settle down.
Shots
I feel like the Lightning
9-1.
haven't maybe had that moment.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they've had that moment yet, and I'm wondering, could that be with a lot on the line there Wednesday for them to go up 3-2? Maybe do we see a nice push, 7, 10 minutes of them tilting the ice and confusing and panicking Montreal a little bit in their own zone, make them defend. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when you look at a team that's youth, right, you put some of the heat on them, feeling like they have to bounce back and play from behind. I think they've been very comfortable from where they've been playing this series from, for the most part. Before I let you go, what other series? I mean, obviously, Pittsburgh, Philly, Pittsburgh showing heart, staying in the game. Philly's been way better than I thought. I think when you're looking
way better.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I look at the Orlando Magic on the basketball side, Philly Flyers on the NHL side. Like, it's amazing. I thought that series would be much tighter, and it hasn't been. But outside of that series, what else has caught your eye?
I think, is it bad for me to say what's happening with Edmonton is
no.
Maybe is it surprising? Not surprising, because they go to Jari, who was supposed to be the guy, but he really never was the guy. Never. And it seems like the goaltender situation has been a problem. What have they given up 4 goals in every game? Did I read that right, Edmonton? I mean, you're not going to win many games, doing that. So I think for sure that series has surprised me. Even if you don't think Edmonton's a strong team, I do think getting past Anaheim was in the cards. Now, they still may. What, Anaheim's up 2-1 in that series?
3-1.
I don't know. 3-1. I mean, is it 3-1 now?
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah. So Carolina sweeping Ottawa. Sweeps are hard.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a little bit of a surprise. I mean, that just in the nature and a lot of parity in today's game. And Buffalo appears to, they have found that gear.
Yeah.
Against the Bruins.
They have.
So maybe not completely surprised, but maybe how they've kind of stepped on their throat a little bit and showed a little bit more of a killer instinct has been impressive.
No doubt.
6-1 the other night. I mean, that was a pretty good shellacking.
Beat down. Greg Lenelli, 2 N's, 2 L's, Lightning Radio. Go check him out. He is the man. You've been frozen for like the last 30 seconds, but that's why
you know why.
Radio.
You know why I'm frozen, because this is what happens, because we use StreamYard. Apparently, when I go back to different tabs, because I was looking at just some of the scores, I freeze. I don't know why.
That's the way it goes.
Maybe it's a setting. It's a setting.
It's a setting thing. What do you got going on for the rest of the day? Daddy daycare? What's going on over there?
Daddy daycare. No, I got some client calls. I got to do some onboardings, and get ready for the kids.
What's my guy Enzo doing?
He's napping, but he'll be ready.
Good. He'll be ready.
Dad.
No, he will. There you go. The one and only Greg Lenelli. Thanks, pal. I appreciate your time.
All right, buddy.
We'll talk soon. I'll see you Wednesday night.
You got it, brother. Appreciate it.
I've warned you. See you, pal. The great Greg Lenelli, Lightning Radio. Go check him out. Him and our guy Dave Michigan. They do such a fantastic job with the lunch, Lightning Power Lunch, crushing it. Yeah, some good trades for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Brought the Sergachev Drouin trade. Really, really good stuff, man. That's for sure. Guys, before we finish up, let's talk about everything else that is going on this weekend. Let me make sure that I get switch it over here, switch it over there. Good. Guys, make sure you're following me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Did you guys get your shirts yet? Did you get your shirts yet? Bring the cup back to the Bay. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. Manchester United plays at 3 today. That makes me happy. Get your shirts now with the Jay Recher Podcast. Click on the link. Marissa can't wait for her merch. Appreciate that. All right, so how about those Tampa Bay Rays? With a lot of discussion going on, what's going on with the Tampa Bay Lightning and what's going on with the Buccaneers draft? Like the Rays, what did they do? They just went and took care of business. And that's what you love to see from the Rays, to be able to go out there and to win 3 games in a row over the Minnesota Twins, 6-2, 6-1, and 4-2, starting with yesterday's game and going back. Schulten's on the mound. They went up against Simeon Woods Richardson, and Brian Baker picked up his 6th win of the year. What's funny? You look at what happened yesterday, and a lot of people were not thrilled with the trade of Taj Bradley for Griffin Jackson. The Rays took care of business against Taj Bradley. But I said last year, don't be surprised if Griffin Jax is the latest reclamation project for the Tampa Bay Rays, and they move him from a reliever to a starter. And what did you see yesterday? He was the opener before Schultens came in and threw 4 1/3, and then Cole Sulser, and then Brian Baker. But Griffin Jax looked pretty damn good yesterday. 2 1/3 innings, 1 hit given up, 1 walk, and 2 Ks. Don't be surprised if Griffin Jax is a guy they eventually start stretching out a little bit and putting him at the front. I wouldn't hate that at all. I mean, Jonathan Aranda stepping up big yesterday. Yandy Diaz going big fly. And, you look at the top of the lineup with Chandler Simpson with 3 hits, a 321 average on the season. Taylor Walls chips in with a hit. Cedric Mullins 0 yesterday with 138 batting average on the year. No bueno, my friends. But listen, a 6-2 win and all the home runs on Friday night. That's all you kept seeing. I know a lot of people were focused on what was going on for the draft. But every single time you look up Friday night, as Drew Rasmussen took the win over Taj Bradley, it was just 2 for Junior, 2 for Aranda. It's just like home run here and home run there. That's what you want to see from the Rays. Your big boppers doing damage in the middle of the lineup, and Drew Rasmussen doing what he does, limiting the damage, only walking 1 guy, the ERA down to 2.45, and Taj Bradley gets greeted rudely in his first start at Tropicana Field since getting traded to the Minnesota Twins last year. It's only his first look. It was kind of crazy too, because you had 3 guys that pitched for the Rays, Anthony Bonda and Eric Garza, pitching for Minnesota in that game. And then let's not forget the win on Saturday as well, a 6-1 victory for the Tampa Bay Rays. Sugar Shane McClanahan gets his first win at Tropicana Field since 2023. And the Rays starting out hot. They had a 5-0 lead. They ended up 6-0 lead. They gave up 1 in the 9th, but Jake Fraley contributes with the home run. Listen, I thought Minnesota would be a little bit better this year, and I thought they came out of the gates better than maybe they thought, but hey, you're getting contributions from DeLuca and Williamson in that game. And now, all right, where are we at with the Rays? It seems like we're doing the same old song and dance with these guys. All right, they're struggling. They're going to be in trouble. They got to win the games, and then they go on a nice little run here. They've won 4 in a row, and now they're 16-11, and they're a game and a half behind the Yankees in the AL East. So it's all right. And I think you look at what the Orioles and the Blue Jays and the Red Sox are doing, and can you believe that the Red Sox fired Alex Cora and 5 of his coaches? The best line of the entire weekend was firing Alex Cora is similar to crapping your pants and changing your shirt. Yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. You're telling me with the way that they have constructed this team, letting Bregman walk out the door, trading Rafael Devers, trading some incredible prospects, especially in that Dustin May trade. When you traded Tibbs, you traded away my guy, Zach Earhart. It's mind-boggling that you're going to fire the manager. That's one of the best managers in baseball. He'll be fine, but they're 11-17, and I cannot believe that they blame that on him. We know Toronto and Baltimore are struggling, and I think the biggest thing with the Rays is, and it might have been different last year compared to this year, but just kind of tread water a little bit. Tread water. Don't try to do just don't go on any prolonged losing streaks, and I think you'll be right in there. Give yourself a chance. And now you have this 3-game series against the Rays coming up, and tonight Should be a fun matchup. 6:10 start. Parker Messick, Plant City's own, in a battle of the left-handers. It's on Fox Sports 1 tonight against Steven Matz. This is so crazy that a guy from Plant City against a guy from Long Island, two guys that I know pretty well, Parker Messick and Steven Matz. Tanner Beebe and Nick Martinez tomorrow. And then you have Trevor Williams and Drew Rasmussen on Wednesday. It's a 1:10 affair. So a good 3-game matchup. You know what happens with Cleveland. They're a well-coached ball club. Gavin Williams. I said Trevor Williams. My bad. Gavin Williams. Let's see what happens with the Rays, man. I give them a lot of credit. I can see Core going to the Mets if they fire their manager. That makes sense. That makes sense. No doubt about it. How about our Tampa Bay Rowdies, too, playing in some cup action? It's Mustaches for Mental Health Night, May 2nd, against Indy 11. That's great. Fireworks night as well. That should be fun. But a big win for the Rays this past weekend. You know, they continue to roll. They have not dropped a game all year. They've had a couple of draws, but a win against the Sarasota Paradise in the USL Cup, a 2-0 victory there. And the one thing I love about the Rowdies is the depth of this group is way better. Carson Henderlong, a guy that has come up from Naples, from League One. He came last December, and this guy scores 2 goals. He has had trouble finding room on the pitch because they've done so well, whether it's Russell Cicerone or Conway, or there's just so many different MD Myers. Like, there's so many good players for the Rowdies. And he's had to wait patiently, and he's able to do that and comes away with the win. I love what I've seen from the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Get on out there. Go get you some tickets. If you haven't been to a Rowdies game, what are you waiting for? Rowdiessoccer.com. Get on out there and support our guys. They are the best. Just received another order from somebody ordering some shirts. Gotta love it, man. Blake, you got one, Blake. I appreciate you, Blake. You're the man. Thank you, buddy. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. Yeah, I'm everywhere. I'm an island boy. Try to make it. Some soccer action from over the weekend. Somebody asked me, who do I think is going to win between Bayern Munich and PSG? I like Bayern this year, man. Olise and Harry Kane up front, but there's just something about what Luis Enrique has been able to do, especially in that midfield for PSG. The midfield usually dominates the game, so I'm gonna go with PSG, even though I love Bayern Munich. I really do. Those guys have just been incredible. They've locked up the Bundesliga. They were losing 3-0 to Mainz over the weekend, the 10th best team in the Bundesliga. And Vincent Kompany, their coach, is like, no. We're not going to go out like this, even though they have the league locked up and they're resting their guys for the Champions League. What do? They send in Kane, they send in Olise, and they win 4-3. Very, very impressive there. Man U plays today at 3 o'clock, so please don't text me at 3 o'clock. Love you guys. Arsenal wins 1-0 over the weekend. Tottenham wins. West Ham wins. It was just Arsenal again. 1-0 at home against Newcastle. You score one nice goal. I think it was Eberechi Eze. It's just such a weird thing, man. It's such a weird they act like they have to survive every single time. It's aesthetically, it's one of the worst teams to watch. I really don't get it. I don't. They're dominant. They have better players than these other teams, and they just everything they do, it's almost like they hold on for dear life to try to be successful. It's just not a good watch. It really isn't. All right, and showing some love as well to our teams here locally. Again, for all of your high school baseball coverage, 813preps.com. We got to show love to our guy, Jared Guthrie, and the crew over there. This is now the time. And if you can contribute and help them out in any way, please do so. Every little bit helps. We love our guys over there. Jesuit beat, in a lot of these games, all these teams that have won, they move on and they play sometime either Friday or Saturday. Shout out to Jesuit with a 14-0 win over Englewood Lemon Bay. Freedom, my guy Dane Moore and the crew, a 6-5 win over St. Pete, their first ever region playoff win. If you missed our chat with Coach Dane Moore, it's up on our page, and including the steal of home. East Bay beats Northeast 5-3. Bloomingdale with Vaughn Osting striking out 15 in that win, giving up only one hit. 4-0 victory for the Bulls. Gaither with a 5-3 win over Parrish. Matt Altman again, 13-0 on the season. The kid's been incredible. Coach Eric Luxus and Sickles with a 10-3 win over Palmetto. A heartbreaking loss for Dennis Braun and the Plant Panthers. A 7-6 extra inning loss to Land O'Lakes. Wharton Falls 2-1 to East Lake. Plant City 3-1 over Sarasota. Strawberry Crest, a tough loss for them. 6-5 to Lakeland Jenkins on a walk-off. Venice 6-0 over Sumner. Carter Cox struck out 17 of the 21 batters that he saw. Well, he walked 3, but 17 of the 24. So 17 of the 21 outs were strikeouts. Kid's a problem. And then let's not forget Tampa Catholic over Tampa Prep. Jack Smythe with the home run. Blake Brown with the home run. Tampa Catholic moves on. The Crusaders, Coach Paulie Russo and the crew doing a fantastic job. Just another fantastic year for Tampa Prep as well. It's just some good baseball. So many of our teams in Tampa won. Jefferson was able to beat Rogers 10-0. We saw Berkeley Prep beating First Baptist 22-1. My God. Coach Richie Warren has those guys rolling right now. Watch out for them. All right, some of the playoff action in the we'll finish off with this. Winners and losers from over the weekend, talking about the NHL and NBA action. And we'll start in the NHL from what we saw on Friday night and beyond. I mean, Utah wins the game. They'll take a 2-1 series lead on Friday night. Edmonton loses 7-4. I mean, you're just watching this series, and they lose a heartbreaker last night where the puck barely trickles over the line. But Edmonton, I got no excuse. They can't defend. They haven't put enough stock into trying to get a big-time goalie. If I'm Connor McDavid, I'm getting the hell out of there. See ya. Carolina and Colorado, 4-0 sweep. They have taken care of business. Boston, down 2-1 at home, and they just put up an absolute stinker in Game 4. I think at one time, Buffalo had 3 goals and Boston had 2 shots. Just an absolutely embarrassing performance from Charlie McAvoy and the Boston Bruins. Awful. You don't deserve to win that series. Pittsburgh staves off elimination. They win Game 4 on the road against Philadelphia. One of the best games I watched all weekend was Saturday night, Dallas and Minnesota. The Wild come back. They take the game 3-2. Matt Boldy, the American, scores in overtime to tie that series up at 2 apiece. Dallas is getting a really great contribution from some of their veterans. Matt Duchene has had a really good playoff for them. And then tonight, Philly and Pittsburgh. Philly trying to close it out on the road against the Pens. And then Vegas and Utah, the Mammoth, Game 4 at home, looking to extend their lead. Vegas, a lot of people had Vegas in this series. And then, of course, we know Boston, Buffalo, Minnesota, Dallas, Anaheim, Edmonton, Manana. In the NBA, starting on Friday nights. We'll go back to Friday nights. Boston and Philly. Boston wins that game 108-100. And I was with Steve on Friday night, and I think the line was like 9.5. And I go, all right, Philly loses that game. They're going to get Joel Embiid back for Game 4 after appendicitis. And they get smoked by 32. Embarrassing. Some really embarrassing performances from the Boston Bruins and the Philadelphia Sixers at home in Game 4 of their respective series. No bueno. Lakers win. Overtime, LeBron was incredible Friday night to give them a 3-0 lead, but they lose. He didn't play so well last night. Houston wins that game. Amen Thompson with 23 points. Still no KD, dealing with that ankle injury. Lakers still in control, 3-1. San Antonio wins Game 3 without Victor Wembanyama. He spoke out last night after their win against Portland to take a 3-1 lead on the road about how he wasn't happy with the NBA's concussion protocol. I mean, whatever, bro. I mean, they're just trying to save you for yourself. You beat Portland without you. Like, just keep things in perspective here. Again, as much as I've been impressed with the Philadelphia Flyers, I've been even more impressed with the Orlando Magic, taking a 2-1 series lead with their Game 3 victory at home, 113-105. Paolo Banchero showing up in that series against the Pistons. OKC with a commanding 3-0 lead over Phoenix. The Knicks tie the series over Atlanta. I thought they played a really, really good game. If they play like that, they're going to be awfully tough to beat. Atlanta's done a really good job with Nikhil Anderson Walker. Nikhil Alexander Walker. Why do I keep saying Anderson? But I thought they bumped him. They bumped CJ McCollum. They did a lot of good things in that game. Minnesota and Denver has gotten hot. That series has gotten hot. A late J.D. McDaniels with the late layup, and Nikola Jokic runs all the way down the court. He did not. He was not happy with that one. And a little fracas after the game there. And Dosunmu, who they picked up in a midseason trade with the Chicago Bulls, 43 points. And Minnesota is one game away from knocking out the Denver Nuggets. It's funny, too, because it's a 3-1 series lead for Minnesota. They're in Denver tonight in the Mile High City. And Denver's an 11.5-point favorite. And they're down 3-1 in the series. That might be smart money on Minnesota tonight. Orlando looking to capitalize on some home cooking tonight as they try to take care of business against Detroit. And then Oklahoma City looking to close it out in Phoenix. The only series I didn't mention, Cleveland and Toronto, they're at 2 apiece after Scotty Barnes led the way with 23 points, 2-2 after 4 there. So a lot of fun. Big Bayern comeback. You're going to text JJ Moser if Man United wins today? No, I'll talk to him about it on Wednesday as well. Would I be surprised if McDavid gets traded this summer? Yes, I will be surprised if he gets traded. I think he'll sign somewhere else. And again, Phil Esposito said it many times. Don't be surprised if somehow, some way we see Connor McDavid find his way to the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. The post-game show over on TikTok. Go on over there right now. Go to TikTok. I'll answer some of your questions over there. You'll get to see what Marissa is wearing. It's the Marissa Fashion Show. A big shout out to Miguelo and Dave and Chan and Steve and Joe Bucs fan for the super chats. I could not do this without you guys. Thank you so very much. You are the best. A big thank you to Honest Hammer Custom Builders and EverHealth as well. You guys are the best, man. Thank you so much. A big thank you to Scott Reynolds. A thank you to Greg Lenelli. And thank you to all of you who were there with me last night for the emergency podcast and also today on the program. Tomorrow, our last show in NC before we are back at the arena on Wednesday. Still got some irons in the fire on who's going to join us on the program tomorrow, but it'll be some pretty big names. Cannot wait to talk more Tampa Bay Lightning sports and beyond with them and with you. All right, follow me on all social media platforms. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere, guys. Help out the cause. Get you some J Retro Podcast t-shirts now. Here is the link. Just click on the link in the chat. Get your Lightning Post season shirts and the J Retro Podcast ones as well. And again, head on over to TikTok. No Ian tomorrow. No Ian this week. Maybe on Wednesday I'll head over there. But again, I'll be hockey as well. No Phil. I'm going to work on getting Phil on later on this week. I want to see what happened because he was on with our guys, Be the Thunder. And I don't want to inconvenience Phil. I want to be able to do it right. So when we do it, we could do it a couple times over the next couple of months because he had to go into the arena to do the podcast with our guys, Schoolie and Shooter. And I want to make sure that he doesn't have to go in. I want him to be able to make sure that he can join the podcast from home and do it on his phone. So I'll get with Phil. We'll talk about it on Wednesday night. But I'm trying to get Ira Kaufman and Dave Randorf. That's my goals for tomorrow's show. We shall see. I love you all. Go on over to TikTok now at JRetro and let's finish the conversation there. I love